Welcome in. Nice to have you aboard on this very, very chilly Tuesday, the 15th of December, halfway through the year, or through this month of this lousy year, the last month of this year. You remember the song, Brett? I Am a Rock?
And You Are an Island.
Right. The Simon Garfunkel song. The only reason it made me
Every
think of
time
it
I
today,
guess Simon and Garfunkel, I miss it.
well, the only reason I bring it up is the lyrics to that. The start of that song is "A winter's day in a deep and dark December," and that's kind of how it feels to me today.
It does feel like that today. It very much looks like December 15th out there today.
It really does. Scott Van Pelt does this thing. He was very
Guess
clever.
what? It is December 15th.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. Scott Van Pelt came up with this, I think, really cool little gimmick he calls bad beats.
Yeah,
and basically
producer cohort,
right.
Stanford Steve.
Yeah.
Stanford Steve's a great guy. Last year on a guy bucket trip to Oxford, he came to Oxford last year, 2019, hung out a lot with Wright Thompson, that a lot of people know that name, and had a big-time fun, had ball, and I got to visit with him. He's a delightful guy, just like he appears on camera. Fun-loving is all get out.
Good. Well, they do this thing, and basically the bad beat is you looked like you were there. You were going to win your bet. You were going to win that game.
You got the dough in your hands.
And it was there. And, it was perfect last night for us because this was going to be a case where Drew's favorite team, which, by the way, is your favorite team the Orioles or is your favorite team the Ravens?
1A and 1B.
Okay.
Different sports.
True. See, you can understand that for you, but you can't understand White Sox and Cubs.
Same sport.
No, Drew.
Two teams in the same sport. That's different.
No. Let's cut this down a little bit more. If you could have season tickets to either, and you could watch a Game 7 win for the O's at Camden Yards or a Super Bowl win from a posh skybox next door to the owner at whatever Super Bowl site it is for the Ravens, pick one.
I'll take the Orioles, but I do not want to sit next to Peter Angelo. Is that acceptable?
All right, so the Orioles are your favorite team, and the Ravens are your second. So this was a perfect scenario. Ravens were going to win the game, and your and my cover per our pick, 3.5 points, was going to rule the day. You and I would have been brilliant on the week. I was looking at a 5-2 NFL week with a 4-1 college. I mean, that's big time right there.
Big time.
And what happens?
Once again, it had been poor Drew.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's still poor Drew. I mean,
but up jumps the devil.
Can you believe what occurred at the end of that game last night, which, by the way, was one of the better football games of the year? It really was.
Outstanding game. And I normally don't like that many points, but it was outstanding. Can you imagine having real baby needs new shoes cash on that one?
Oh, well, there are some analytics, and maybe I'm just too old to get it. I can't figure it out. But the Cleveland Browns are down by 2 touchdowns. They're down by 14. They come back and they score. Okay? They're an extra point away from being a 1-score extra point game. And instead of kicking the extra point, they go for 2. Now, they made it, and it's a 6-point game. But why would the analytics at that particular moment say, you got to go for 2? Because they're going to score again?
2 words.
What are they?
Cody Parkey.
Oh, Cody Parkey. There is a guy I am so glad was jettisoned by the Chicago Bears. He is a bum. I told you he was when he wore a Chicago uni. I mean, anyway. That's a good reason, really, why you would do it. But they were saying it wasn't Cody Parkey. They were saying it was analytics. And basically, they're going to score again, so they're going to try to keep ahead of the whole deal. I thought it was crazy, but it worked.
Great game. And on Tuesday, we always talk a lot of NFL, all the three of us and the two of us, and you, the listener, you, the texter, you, the caller, you, everybody. We talk with Jeff Moore. We talk with Bo Marchant. I thought out of last night's despair, as tough a home loss, boy, and they've had them, as tough a home loss as the Cleveland Browns maybe ever to endure, especially regular season, even showed the wife or a female consoling a guy up in the stands.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I
mean,
did.
Dude, distraught.
I really don't think of it that way.
But I thought out of that Baker Mayfield and the Browns
Exactly.
got better last night. That's
agree.
one that you can point to in a few years and go, that was a pretty good loss for us.
I totally agree with that. I walked away feeling better about the Cleveland Browns than I did earlier in the game when they fell behind. And
I did too, Dave.
Baker Mayfield was throwing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs when he needed to throw a changeup with a little bit of touch. And he didn't recognize
He's
one time.
Speed Baker.
He didn't recognize one time he could have run for a first down. He threw behind a guy that was open, but he missed him. And this is when the game was really on the line. But here's what it showed you. Last night we had clutch plays on both sides of that field. On Lamar Jackson's point, he proved something, got the cramps, looked like he was out of the game, came back, and he did a Willis Reed, for goodness sake, different sport, but we all know the point. It looks like he's out for the game, comes back, and basically engineers the winning drive. I mean, that
Drew, explain
that
to
was
us the Willis Reed comparison.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be generational
He looks
here, Dave.
absolutely stunned.
Willis Reed coming back out for more.
He's looking at me like, why would you even ask me that question? That is from a caveman well before I was born. But
50
just in case,
years ago.
Willis Reed.
Early 70s, NBA, New York Knickerbockers.
Actually, that might have been the last time the New York Knickerbockers won a title. Think about it. I think it was.
Well, now, I think this one in 70 or in 73, because 73 is the last time they won it, because that was my team, Dave. That was my team.
So
as
what
a
was
guy,
it? Was
I
it
promise
70? So Willis Reed is their
I'm not sure. 70 or 73
he's their
is when he
star
did it.
center, and he gets
May of
walloped
that month
in a game, and he leaves.
He's out.
I mean,
He's
almost
a big
like
man.
on a stretcher, they take him out of the game.
Zebo type player, big barrel chested, southpaw,
Okay,
left-hander.
Yeah, creating a
you
picture
got to
in my
Google him when it's done, and you'll see. And really a strong character, just a great guy. And that Knicks team was unbelievable. The great stars they had on that team, including the greatest Saluki basketball player of all time. And I'm not talking about Witherspoon, and I'm not talking about Mike Glenn. I'm talking Clyde Frazier. We're talking Jerry Lucas on that team. We're talking
Bill Bradley,
Senator Bradley. We're talking unbelievable
Barnett,
characters on
Phil
this
Jackson.
team. Phil Jackson's a backup center to Willis Reed on this team. And Willis Reed goes
Earl
down.
the Pearl in 73, but not in 70.
Right.
Mike Reardon was with him in 70.
Oh, yeah, Mike Reardon, who was a great player.
Oh, Dave, who was the big man? Speaking of Simon and Garfunkel, was it Henry Finkel?
Henry Finkel was, yeah. That had nothing to do with
Wasn't he on those teams?
He was.
He wasn't good. No.
No,
But
he
took up. He looked
was-
great in the airport strolling through.
He was behind Phil Jackson.
What was it? Was it Finkel? Henry Finkel?
That sounds right. It sounds right.
Or Finkel?
No, I
yeah,
think Finkel was
he
right.
was. He was not. Yeah, he was not good, but it was a great name.
Anyway, he goes down, and you think he's done. I mean, you think he's out for the year. He's that kind of hurt. And they take him
Rendered
out.
senseless.
They take him in the back, probably give him smelling salts. I don't know what the heck they did. But with, 4 or 5 minutes remaining in the game, out comes Willis Reed, and he saves the day. And they come back and win the game. Isn't that how it worked?
I think hurt in the game before, Dave, and then
oh, no, I thought he was hurt.
counted out, not going to play in the next game, and then made the big appearance after the game and didn't play long, didn't contribute much, but it was such a momentum lift in the Garden.
But I thought he came out of the tunnel after being injured, and you're right. He got back in the game, didn't do
I
much,
just
but it
don't
was that
recall. I
motivation.
mean, it was a long time ago.
It was. I think that's the way
And
it
it was
played out.
it was but last night Lamar Jackson did that, and for
did.
all the people that think that Lamar Jackson's been figured out, well, he may be, but the Cleveland Browns haven't figured him out.
Well, I don't think
He diced them.
I don't think he's totally been figured out. I think there's a little growing process with him too. It's not like he's a chiseled 10-year veteran. He's still learning nuances.
And he doesn't have a great
of the
receiver
game.
either.
He does not, but he was good enough to engineer the comeback last night. And then I know this is after Cleveland comes down and you think has tied the game, and that you're going to go to overtime, and they couldn't stop him. And then the bad beat is it's perfect. It's a 3-point game. We got a 3.5-point cover. Here's the kickoff. It's into the end zone. One play, 2 seconds are remaining. Easy, right? This, and for whatever reason, it's a little pass, starts at the 25, back goes Mayfield, hits a man, hits him at about, I'm going to say, the 35-yard line. It's a 10 or 15-yard pass. I don't understand why you always have to go backwards. I don't mind a little lateral movement. I don't mind forming a rugby kind of a line or something.
Just so much room.
But how?
You run out of room.
I mean, that thing was at the 35 or 40, Brett. They keep going backwards. They go backwards through the end zone. And when it's a safety, and you could tell Steve Levy was trying to go, is that a safety? That's a safety. He was questioning it, and then all of a sudden you saw the referee make the signal safety, and I'm going, that's a bad beat. That's unbelievable. There's no way that can happen. There were 2 seconds left. I was counting the money.
If you had real holiday season cash on it, you go full Elvis and blow out the TV.
You would have gone if you had big money on that thing. I mean, I get worked
You
up
go full
just from
Elvis.
picking it. This is why I don't bet on games, because I get jacked up enough just from making a pick. You go full
juice. Elvis and get a Louisville slugger out and break out every window of your own home.
That's impossible because the ball was to the 35 or 40. How could they go back that far? I mean, for goodness
But on the flip side of it, Dave, we talk about the bad beats, but what about on the flip side of it?
Somebody won.
If there's heaven, there's the other place too. Somebody won that way.
I can tell you.
I want to hear from the winners
people.
and the losers last night. 67129.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us the amount. You don't have to tell us who you are. Just text us at 67129, the First Bank text line. Did it make a difference last night in your life?
One was despair. The other was sheer joy. I mean, that is the craziest way that I've ever seen a cover go away. And there's a bunch of bad beats. But I mean, and there are plenty of people saying that last night that was the best NFL football game this year. And I'm not going to dispute it.
I agree.
Because you saw pressure plays made from both teams. Both teams kept coming back and
quality play,
it
quality
really
answers.
Yes, it really was.
Third high scoring Monday night football game ever.
Really, I didn't realize that.
Or fourth. Third. The 54-51 Rams Chiefs from 2 years ago, and we remember that one. And then from 1983, 48-47. Washington and the Packers, 95 points. And, Dave, at the end of that one, I remember it well, very well. And at the end of it, kind of in the closing credits, the Monday night crew, O.J. Simpson was on that crew and said 48-47, 94 big points scored. And Dandy Don said, O.J., at SMU, that's 95. I don't know what it is at USC.
Dandy Don was good. He was very, very quick-witted. So, okay, we got a bad beat there. Before we get to top and not top story, I got to get something off my chest. Talking about bad beats. So that was a bad beat on a blown cover. I don't know what the excuse for the American Athletic Conference coaches could possibly be. I get it that the Cincinnati quarterback, who's terrific, and we're talking about a guy whose team went undefeated, is in the championship game. So there's no question that the offensive player of the year should be Desmond Ridder, and he should be first team all conference at the quarterback position. No problem there. Second team, I don't know. Didn't the UCF Knights lose to Memphis in a real shootout in the Liberty Bowl? Didn't Brady White have a big game in that game? Didn't Memphis come from behind and score 50 points and beat them by one? Yes, they did.
They did all those things.
Yes,
I'm certain.
Yes, they did. And yet
You led the witness. I was just going to agree with you.
Here is Dylan Gabriel, a sophomore, not a senior, not at the end of his career. Here is Dylan Gabriel, the second string quarterback. Okay, if you want to make enough of the case, and I'm sure that if we looked at all the numbers and we didn't look at just a head-to-head, you would say, Dylan Gabriel, well, he's pretty prolific. Okay, maybe second. I wouldn't, but I could see a case. Okay. Now, honorable mention, which is, still something. It's not what you really had hoped for, but it's still something. How can you not have a kid who in his career threw for 10,400 yards and still going? 10,400 yards, all those touchdowns, the winningest in one of your school's program's history, and you don't even make him honorable mention? What? That's ridiculous. He's not at all mentioned on the all-conference first team, second team, or honorable mention. Please. It makes that
the real slide.
Exercise a joke.
It does. And last night we saw that bad beat by many, and I'm here to tell you from FanDuel, if by chance you're with FanDuel and you had the Browns last night at 3.5, or at 4, full refunds. That's what FanDuel's doing for you. Yes, sir. Full refunds.
Does that work for us? Do we get that in our cover?
No.
I don't think we get it. I don't think Drew's going to agree to that one.
I will not
But
allow
we know the NFL, it's in the final leg of the season of a fun year on the field. College basketball back in force. NBA tip-off is getting close. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, there's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. All the different incentives, all the flexibility they have. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay and exclusive always-on promotions, such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest event. And Bet Insurance lets you get more action out of every game. If you win, they get you your winnings safely in 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. No strings attached. Just place any bet you want. Seriously, if you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. Conference basketball action tonight, Thursday night football, all the bowl games coming soon, and NBA drawing really, really close. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. All wishing you a happy holiday season and into the new 2021 Happy New Year. They are offering the golden opportunity, December to remember, at Lexus of Memphis. Stop by today at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for a luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Oh, I love this story. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He just signed the richest deal in the history of the NBA. $228.2 million over 5 years, there's a lot of good aspects to this. The best might be that a smaller market team was able to keep a entity that will make them a contender for the next 5 years. He's only 26 years old. You realize that by the time this one's up, he's only 31. Giannis Antetokounmpo could end up with over $500 million in salaries when his career is over. Should actually end up with over $500 million in straight salary just from the NBA. Nothing to do with any other income sources or endorsements, just from straight salary. And it proves if you're Memphis and you're willing to put out the money, you can keep a John Morant, you can keep a Jaren Jackson. These guys will stay if you work with them and make them happy.
Yeah, you have the advantage for the super max that the other teams that they don't have. The team that drafted them has the advantage. My top story, no Texas coaching opening. Clay Helton safe at USC. That's two big ones that a lot of people thought would be open. That leaves Auburn as clearly the best job opening, but it's a tough job. Every Auburn coach over the last 40 seasons, they've ended up winning an SEC championship. But they eventually, you get just kind of ground up there. It is a tough job because of what they have in state. If it was standalone, everybody would love Auburn's history. Everybody would love Auburn's trophy case and their tradition. It's great. It's a great town. It's a great college, great university. But it's really tough. It's made tough by what they have to contend with in state.
Well, and even tougher with the guy who's there right now. So if you are a young coach and you're in a good situation, do you want to leave for Auburn until Saban retires? And the question for
Dave,
me is
you're right.
I'm hesitant. And not the question, the answer
right.
is I'm hesitant. I'm waiting for
the
big
texture
bad guy.
corrects us. Henry Finkel was with the Celtics. I was thinking of John Gianelli.
Okay. That's right.
He was bad.
Henry Finkel. Man, I haven't thought of that name in forever. But
John Gianelli.
Back to the point that we just made. Auburn will be a much better job when Nick Saban goes away.
Not top story of the day.
These numbers are bad again today. It's just the case that we need the vaccine, and we need it yesterday. There's no question about it today, and this is all a spike from Thanksgiving. There's no question about it, and we're going to have another surge after Christmas. There's no doubt in my mind about that. That's why I caution everybody. I was thinking about going to lunch myself today out, and it was too cold to go outside, and that was a good friend of mine trying to entice me to go, and we'd sit in a corner inside, and I just said no, because it is surging, and it's going to do it again for Christmas. And I was reading a prominent doctor saying those vaccines that aren't in shoulders and needles yet will not stop you now from this surge. Please be careful. Today we had 893 new cases, almost 900. 9 new fatalities, 9 people passed away from yesterday to today. We had a lot of tests, and that's why these numbers are so large. 8,400 tests at 10.6% positivity. Here's the scariest thing of all, Brett Norsworthy. 97% capacity of ICU beds. We're down to only 15. Now, they could open up Union Avenue, but they have to have doctors and nurses at Union Avenue, too. And I don't know what the status of those numbers would look like. I'm not sure we have enough to go around. But we're down to 15 ICU beds. We're down to 206 acute care beds. That's about 91% of capacity. But 97% of capacity. This is not a good time anywhere in America to get sick. There are some hospitals in Mississippi that won't take you right now, no matter how sick you are. We had 8,200 new cases in the state of Tennessee. We're up to 465,000. In Mississippi, 2,200 new cases, 183,000 total. And Arkansas, 187,000 cases. They are surging as well. In the United States, we've surpassed 17 million. We had 74,000 new cases from yesterday. We've had 309,000 now who have passed away. And in the world, 73.5 million with 400,000 new, and over 1 2/3 million who have passed away worldwide from COVID-19.
My not top story, Texas staying with Tom Herman after credible reports of Urban Meyer in and Tom Herman out. Next year, we know what it's going to be like for Tom Herman. It's going to be week to week. Every single week will be a referendum on him. They open against Louisiana Lafayette. Week 2, they go to Fayetteville and play Arkansas. Week 3, they play Rice. Then a few weeks later, they play Oklahoma at Red River Shootout. A loss at Fayetteville and a loss at Red River Shootout, Tom Herman gets fired in season next year.
How about a loss at Louisiana Lafayette?
Tom Herman didn't go to Fayetteville.
That might actually be the case. I could see that happening. One job that you did not mention that is a pretty good job, it's certainly not Texas, it's not USC, but it is Virginia Tech. And Justin Fuente, we learned part of the reason why he's coming back. Do you realize 3/4 of his team and most of his assistant coaches from the period of when the pandemic began in March until now all had COVID? 75% of the team had COVID. That's amazing that he did as well as he did. Now, losing to Liberty, that didn't go a long way, but they're willing to give him a chance for another year. He's going to be another guy that will have a weekly referendum, I am afraid. Those are your top and your not top stories. We do have a really good program coming your way. Gabe Kuhn will start things off with Talkin' Tigers. That comes your way next. Brent Beard will be here. His notes are out. Great stuff that he's got. We'll talk National Football League with our friend Jeff Moore. Maybe he can give us the reason for the analytics on going for 2 when you're down 14 and you just scored the first comeback touchdown. I don't get that at all. Maybe Bo Marchand at 5 o'clock will know about that. Ron Tillery on the NBA, and the Grizzlies have won 2. And, man, they look pretty good. And I'll tell you something. I've said this before. I'm saying it again until I see something different. You're telling me Anthony Edwards is the number 1 overall pick from last year? He's the best college player that the pros took? I don't see it. I still don't see it in 2 games that I watched this week against the Grizz. And then we'll go with Taco Bell Crunch Time coming your way at 5:50. We are officially underway on this Tuesday.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacey and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Kuntz. It's the back left tire of your RV calling. Wanted to give you a heads up that I'm going to blow out on the highway later today.
Wait, what?
Says here I'm going to burst in the middle of rush hour.
Well, can we reschedule?
Sorry, our policy states that once we're scheduled to burst, we have to. We really pride ourselves on our commitment to blowouts.
RV owners can't schedule when things go wrong on the road. That's why there's Progressive, a leader in RV insurance.
You want a text confirmation when I burst?
Think I'll notice.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Rocking around the key rides, have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South. Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event Command the Season. And gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease, 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease, plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP 20,625, Soul M7755682, MSRP 20,315, K5 MG 003199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license, with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Logan and Brett Norsworthy.
Somewhere, somehow, somebody must have kicked you around some.
Welcome back in. We are in the Family Leisure Studios, where the Holidays at Home sale is taking place at I-40 and Whidden Road. That's the place you need to go and see our good friends. They are knocking it out of the ballpark with this Holidays at Home sale. They really are. Spas. They got hundreds on order. They've got pool tables, game tables, arcades. Can't beat a family party when after you've opened up the presents and maybe a pool table or a game table or an arcade will be in there, you'll get a special price for it, and then everybody can play together. How about after the big meal? We have a little massage chair action going on. They got a great price on massage chairs. And don't forget about pools. You can buy the pools now, save on the 2021 price increase, and you get priority on early spring installation. You can't beat it. Please head on over to see my friends. I-40 and Whidden Road. Family Leisure, where family and fun are all coming together for the holidays. We love talking Tigers with Gabe Kuhn. We can talk Brett Norsworthy about a bowl game in Montgomery basically a week from tomorrow.
Sure can. And we said last week, Master, the obvious comment of all time, 7-3 sure sounds a lot better than 6-4, and 8-3 would sound really good. And we'll talk Tigers with Gabe Kuhn as we have all season long. It's been brought to you all season long, and we appreciate so very much the sponsors for this: Bartlett Small Engines, Crab Kings, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Southland Casino. And Southland Casino, they're ready. They're back, and they want you to get back across the bridge with them. Play blackjack, craps, roulette, slots, all rolling, sportsbook betting. It's reopened, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South, ready to welcome you back and enjoy the holiday season with you with blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. They are ready for you.
Gabe Kuhn joins us now as we do talk Tigers, and I guess I want to start with, because I think you were one of the building blocks of this, and it's really not a tangible. So you can't look and see like a pancake block, or you can't look and see a sack, or you can't look and see a great leaping catch. I mean, those numbers just don't come up. Neither does mental attitude. And we all know the Tigers were down to 52 position scholarship athletes against Houston that was healthier than they've been all year. They had the complimentary 85 on the opposite sideline. And yet the Tigers went toe-to-toe, gave up a big lead, and found the courage to march down and win the game. I think this came from the changing of the culture with Justin Fuente. And, Gabe, you were a leader of that. How do you talk about that intangible? There's no way to measure it.
Absolutely not. But you see in a lot of situations, there's teams that know how to win, and there's teams that know how to lose, right? And before I got here, that first year I was here, that was a team, those were players, those were recruits that just knew how to lose ball games. You could be up the entire game, but at the end you knew that it was going to gack away. But with this sort of new style here, and not really new, relatively compared to, the history of this program. But this this team knows how to win. And that game, working against all odds, really this season, working against all odds, I am impressed with Coach Silverfield's first year. I mean, he had to deal with everything you could possibly deal with. I'm sure he wants a year to go by now here where he will have a boring offseason, a boring season, right? Where he doesn't have to deal with opt-outs, where he doesn't have to deal with guys jumping in the transfer portal. I don't know how to – you can't measure it like you just mentioned, but there is something to be said about teams that know how to win, and this team clearly knows how to do that.
Gabe, I said yesterday it was a program win. It was the difference between a program that's a winner and one right now that's not in Houston.
Right, and Houston, just based on what they did last year, I mean, Holgorsen set a precedent over there that I don't think a lot of people like, right? You quit on your seniors a year ago, and then you come back this year, you lose your star quarterback, and the season's just not the same because of it. And I would imagine that a lot of those guys in that locker room, contrary to what you saw in the Memphis locker room, are fed up, are annoyed with how these past 2 years have gone, and that will lead to losses. Now, I do think they showed some resilience toward the end of that game, but during the middle of it, they just couldn't seem to find their stride. And that Houston team is better than what they showed in the Liberty Bowl on Saturday. I really do believe that. But that Memphis team took advantage of the mistakes that Houston team made, and that was the difference in the game. That Jalen Allen fumble recovery for 6 was really
turn the game around.
It was the biggest switch of momentum that game could have seen, and I think it's what propelled the Tigers to actually win that game.
I agree with that.
Houston just runs so hot and cold, but I think it starts at the top. He is very fractious.
Yeah, you have to set an example, and the truth of the matter is his example over these first 2 years in Houston have been absolutely dreadful. And it's weird because I always talk about, in the AAC, there's a couple of, so to speak, can't fail jobs, right? I think Cincinnati's one of them because of the recruiting ground that they're on, and I think Houston is another because you're right in the heart of Houston. You can get a lot of those kids in. You're a big school in a big city. You have some money around your program. You have good facilities, and yet he's found a way in 2 years to make that program go down in the dumps, and it's no surprise to see his players sort of following in those footsteps because of the example that he laid down.
I would say that it was down when he got there. Now let's be honest. They made a mistake, or so it seems, and I guess I should be careful when I say this because the guy is not going to be the OC at Arkansas State for Butch Jones, but Major Applewhite was a major disappointment. And Houston tried to cut their losses as soon as they could there. Tom Herman left them. Tom Herman had that program revitalized. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
He had changed the culture there to becoming a winning program. And, you look at their facilities. Now, the way in Texas, there is a lot of money that is available for universities to use for facility upgrades, academically and athletically, and the University of Houston has taken full advantage of that for indoor facilities and for their beautiful stadium. TDECU Stadium is absolutely gorgeous. It should be the model that Memphis uses if they were to ever build an on-campus stadium. Go with that one because it is terrific. But this guy, I agree with you here. I think this guy made it pretty evident that he was willing to sacrifice 15 or 20 good guys that stuck around, that believed in the program, and he just, even though he didn't bring them there, he just sacrificed them because he was going to use the guys of, I'm building a program. I'm not building a one-year deal, right? But but that's false. I mean, that's just basically an excuse.
The college football tank job, and not to mention, you lose the one guy that you're building that next season around.
Right.
That was just it was miserable. But the reason I say what I say about him right now at this point is because you look at some of the coaches they've had in the past. right? Kevin Sumlin was fantastic. Tony Levine was not that great, but he had a winning
Wasn't
record.
bad.
Tom Herman was fantastic. Major Applewhite, you say he was a disappointment, but I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he missed the bowl game. But this is 2 years in a row now where that Houston program, where I really think is a can't fail job, has missed bowl games. And,
they are going to a bowl this year.
Well, yeah, I think
but everybody's going to a bowl game, right?
I mean by that,
South Carolina's going to a bowl.
But in 2 years, he's 7-12, whereas every coach before him, especially in the 2000s, is a winning coach. And they've had some very extraordinary coaches, I would say, when you look at Tom Herman. And, well, obviously Kevin Sumlin had his issues in Arizona, but he was very good with Houston. I feel bad for that Houston program right now because the leadership right now is just not looking good for the future.
Gabe, let's hand out some Gabes. Let's hand out some Gabe awards. Offensive Player of the Year, not named Brady White, and Defensive Player of the Year, and that won't be named Brady White either.
Oh, and incredibly easy for Offensive Player of the Year, not named Brady White. Calvin Austin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what he did in stepping up for DeMonte Coxey's absence, I didn't expect that out of him. He became a guy who, before Coxey went out, he's a guy who maybe gets 4 or 5 targets. But once he had to be thrust in that position, he did all he could. He was getting, 11 to 15 targets a game and doing what he could with it, set the record for 100-yard receiving games in a row. You cannot overstate what he meant to that offense. And then on defense, and this is one that's going to be interesting given that his position group struggled badly and mightily the whole season. But Quindell Johnson, only a sophomore right now, led the team in interceptions, found a way to create sparks when there was none really happening on that defense. And he certainly gives you some hope for that secondary in the future. And obviously a second-team all-conference selection today, so I'd give that to Quindell Johnson.
I am with you both times. I don't think it's as cut and dried with Quindell Johnson.
And I think Morris Joseph, you can make a case for Morris Joseph.
That's it. Yep, Morris Joseph.
O'Brien Goodson as well.
O'Brien Goodson, by the way, was like Calvin Austin. They both made first-team All-AAC, and we'll get into the guy that didn't get anything in a minute. But I thought Quindell Johnson, because he led the team in tackles, he made big hits and big wins. He was brilliant against Navy. He was brilliant the other day against Houston. 3 straight weeks he's had picks. He's gotten better as the year has gone on. And as you said, he's only a sophomore. But Morris Joseph, who, by the way, will be back next year, he really came on. And, O'Brien Goodson left. JoJo Dorcius was hurt a lot this year. So there was a lot on somebody having to step up. And he's the guy that stepped up. And I appreciate what he did. So he'd be my second. I agree with you. Johnson would be the guy. I know you would give a Gabe to Brady White, but what do you think is the thinking? And to me, it devalues this award that they gave today. I mean, Ritter deserves to be the quarterback of the first team, and he deserves to be the Conference Player of the Year on offense. I don't have a problem with that. He's in the championship game. He was terrific against the Tigers. I mean, he killed them. So he deserves that. But how is Brady White not second team? And if you're going to make the Dylan Gabriel deal, okay. Memphis did beat them, and Brady was good in that game. But how is he not honorable mention? That part just floors me.
It floors me, too, because, statistically speaking, I understand the Desmond Ritter and the Dylan Gabriel selection. I understand it. But to not have him on anything makes no sense, especially considering the back half of the season he won games despite having absolutely no other form of offense besides his arm and Calvin Austin's hands. And that's the truth of it. Any Memphis fan would tell you that. He had to do everything more or less by himself on offense. Now, sometimes it worked to the team's detriment having to do that, but he had to persevere through some very, very tough times. and not to mention still came out the back end with fantastic statistics, a 7-3 record, and the Tigers with another good season. So I don't really understand how you leave him off of there. And I don't really know who else could have been ahead of him in regards to voting, and I know the coaches do it. And then also the other thing that usually happens with the AAC All-Conference is usually it's they give the seniors a preferential treatment. They give them sort of the lifetime achievement type thing, and you would think that at the very least Brady White would end up on the list because of that. But I agree with you. It is flooring to see him not even mentioned on those all-conference lists.
All right, last thing real quick as we wrap up Talking Tigers with Gabe, and I'm going to miss chatting with you on a regular basis. I truly will. But we got a bowl game a week from tomorrow in Montgomery against Florida Atlantic. They've never lost a bowl game. They've beaten Memphis in a bowl game. What do you know about the Owls?
I know that they have struggled offensively very mightily in the back half of the season. And it's basically because of their quarterback play. Nick Tronti is their sort of throwing guy. He hasn't been very good. They have a guy behind him in Javion Posey who leads their team in rushing, but he can't throw the ball at all. So they have been one of the worst offensive teams in their conference. Defensively, they've been okay, though. They've been pretty stout against the run. They're okay in the secondary, not great. But I really do think the Tigers are an 8.5-point favorite in the bowl game. And I think that's fair. I think the Tigers need to go in, handle business, get this game out on a high note, finish 8-3 in year one with Silverfield, and it will lead to good things in the future.
Thank you, my friend. As always, we appreciate it. Happy holidays to you, and we will talk soon.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks.
That is Gabe Kuhn, and we
Thank
have
you, Gabe.
been Talking Tigers.
We have been Talking Tigers, brought to you every week by Neil's Bar and Grill, Crab Kings, Bartlett Small Engines, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Southland Casino.
We take a quick time out. There is some Major League Baseball news that is a bit foreboding. We'll give you the details in just a minute.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown, on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova, off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Wendy's Baconator is the ultimate bacon cheeseburger that puts all other cheeseburgers to cheeseburger shame. And now we're bringing that same big bacon energy to shake up and wake up your breakfast with the Breakfast Baconator. Stacked with the fresh cracked egg, sausage, cheese, and bacon. And right now, you can get a free Breakfast Baconator with purchase in the Wendy's app. So get to Wendy's and always be baconating. We got you.
Offer available at participating U.S. Wendy's for a limited time during breakfast hours only. Offer must be redeemed via the app. Account registration required.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, ME 299.10, MSRP 20,625, sold M7755,682, MSRP 20,315, K5MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Are you ready to be happy this holiday season? Well, we got you covered at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. So come be happy with Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season. 2020 Kia Forte, $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. Stay happy all season long with Forte, $142, Soul, $148, Kia K5, $192. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Moriah.
Cold and flu season's here. It's time to make sure your family's stocked up on the products you'll need if somebody gets sick. Pick up the new Vicks DayQuil and NyQuil Severe, honey, cold, and flu medicines during your next grocery trip. DayQuil and NyQuil Severe Honey are a max-strength medicine with a great-tasting honey flavor, also available for sale at online retailers. DayQuil NyQuil Severe Honey provides max-strength cold and flu symptom relief for your worst cold and flu symptoms in a soothing honey flavor. Use as directed.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in. We got a couple of baseball notes that are going on.
Always scares me.
It's sort of a replay to the 2020 season. Owners and players are poised for conflict over the length of the 2021 season. The USA Today's Bob Nightingale, who does a terrific job of reporting, he says the owners want players to be vaccinated before spring training begins, right? So that is a very, very tough chore because of the limited availability of vaccines. They're not going to be first in line. These are healthy 20 to 30-year-old men. They're not going to get any kind of priority, and so they probably couldn't get vaccinated at least until May. And the owners are saying that's the case. They want the season to be 140 games instead of the usual 162. The Players Association, they don't agree with the timeline, and they want a 162 full game slate.
They want every dime.
We got problems.
Of course we do. It's baseball. Of course we have problems. The leadership, it's terrible. The owners are as obstinate as any group of owners ever. They still act like they are America's pastime, and they roll like that. And they I don't think they realize that they're not. And they were fine with the limited schedule last year, get the postseason in, and why all the time in trouble for everything else? I've said consistently since the end of baseball, no way it starts on time. No way we play 162. No way.
I'm with you. It's certainly not going to start on time if the owners dig in their heels and say, and I don't blame them, that we're not going to begin this thing until there is vaccinations everywhere. They don't want anybody to say.
I'm glad I'm not the one in charge of who gets in line.
Me too.
That is a tough call, right? Because you can read a lot of credible with all the proper credentials behind the name, with all the PhDs and the doctor in front and all the platitudes, the proper that gives them the imprimatur of they're smart. You can read case after case that they're making that maybe not the baseball players themselves, but that age group in the 20s, that maybe they should be first because they're the super spreaders. They're the ones going out, and they're the ones that if they get it, it's a day and a half, 2 days.
Well, I would debate that one, and I would just say it this way.
You're not debating it with me. You're debating it with the super smart kids.
There you go. I want it this way. I want it for those that are taking care of us. They're the first priority, and that and the way I've seen everything written out in terms of the people in charge of logistics and distribution. You know, they're saying it should go to the people that are the frontliners, the people that are taking care of all of us. They are the ones that get it first. Second in line should be those that are older people that are certainly in assisted living homes, and those that are of age, elderly people, especially those that have underlying conditions. That's number 2. Number 3, take it by age. It's very simple. And it shouldn't go across anything other than that. No economic, no social factors other than age.
Nobody's going to pay.
Right.
Right. There won't be one human in the United States that ever pays to have that vaccine.
No, I understand that. But there are some people with money that might say, I'll give you this if you give me that. That's what I'm saying. You can't buy your way in.
It's going to go the way you're saying, and I prefaced all this by saying I'm glad I'm not the one deciding, and then I said there are many saying we're doing it kind of backwards, that it should be younger first to really gather up the herd, security of it.
Because they're the ones that are out there and they're not abiding by the law.
And they're scared of nothing. They're scared of nothing. And when they get it, it's a day and a half. When you get it as frontline worker or you get it in an older age group, it's really fatal.
But the thing is, that's exactly the point. So if they get it, they usually give it to an older person. That's why you vaccinate the older person. That's my opinion.
But you would eliminate them giving it to them if they went first. If young went first, then they're not giving it to grandma anymore. And did you see the person that was the first recipient of the shot in the United States?
I did.
Yesterday?
I know they got it yesterday. That was the first shoulder in the needle. Needle and shoulder.
Front line, I mean, down in the muck and mire of fighting this 10 months that she's been dealing with patients every day, and she hadn't had the virus yet.
She's amazing.
You would think somebody that's been around that for 10 months. She said, I've never felt bad.
Now that is incredible, and maybe she can't get it. We still don't know everything about this COVID-19, that is for sure.
And never will. We don't know everything about polio. We don't know everything about flu. We don't know everything about appendicitis.
Last thing on baseball, the Memphis Redbirds have a new owner to go with principal owner Peter Freund and partial owner Greg Unger. And his name is Randy Boyd. Does that ring a bell to you at all, Mr.
Didn't he run for governor a few years ago?
He might have. He's the president of the University of Tennessee. And he brings a wealth of experience in sports to the Redbirds because he's got a company called Boyd Sports LLC that owns and operates 4 minor league baseball teams in this state: Knoxville, Johnson
Go
City,
Big Orange,
Greenville,
Go Redbirds,
and Elizabethton. Wow. So he's been involved. I guess he's founder of Radio Systems Corp. too, which is based in Knoxville, president of the University of Tennessee. Now has a Memphis connection for sure, besides the health science school here. That connection is now, he's a part of the Redbirds ownership group. That's an hour in the books. When we come back, college football, front and center. Brent Beard will join us from Jacksonville. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $6.50 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME $299.10, MSRP $20,625, sold M7755 $682, MSRP $20,315, K5MG 003-199, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Are you ready to be happy this holiday season? Well, we got you covered at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. So come be happy with Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season. 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. Stay happy all season long with Forte $142, Soul $148, Kia K5 $192. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
My world was strapped against my back.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of the program. We've run the gamut today. Big day for small market basketball teams in the NBA. How about Giannis signing a $228 million deal, richest NBA deal for ever, history. So good for Giannis, staying in a small market in Milwaukee, and it bodes well for Memphis with
how much was Giannis deal again? To what?
$228.2 million, which is $45.64 million per year on average, about almost $46
which
million
is about $30 million less than it took to build FedEx Forum.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the times they are changing. Just think, they built the whole stadium.
Time marches on in 20 years, doesn't it?
Well, they built the whole stadium 100 years too. They built the whole stadium in Montgomery for $33,000. That is.
They got a deal in Montgomery, didn't they?
What is the game check? I guess if we did $46 million divided by, they're only playing 72 games this year.
Not bad.
You could build like 3 of those stadiums for that for his game check. Crazy stuff.
But you know what? He still has things on his mind he's concerned about.
Hey, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm thrilled for small markets. It means that if you work with John
Morant,
can't hurt
here.
Yeah, if you work with John Morant or Jaren Jackson, you can keep one, and somehow work maybe both. I don't know how you do that because you're talking about a $46 million slot in your if you go supermax on a guy, right? So I don't know if Giannis, if a team could afford 2 of those. And that might be a question that we'll ask a little bit later over on Tillery, is how many Supermax guys can you have on a team? It seems to me Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, now that I'm thinking about it, they're on maxes, aren't they? So you can do 2.
Yeah, that's Brooklyn, though.
Well, but it's the same salary cap, so you have to be willing to go over the cap, and that would be up to Robert Pera, I guess, if that is the case. We'll get into that a little bit later. We love chatting college football with our friend Brent Beard. There, by the way, was news today, the Frisco Bowl between SMU and Texas San Antonio canceled. Apparently, contract tracing is the problem with SMU. The future of whether or not that game would be made up or not, we'll have to wait and see. Brent, we're just, I think that's the 11th bowl now that has been canceled. We're going to see more. I believe the Virginia Tech has said they're going to wait a couple of days to see if they will play. And if they don't go to a bowl, they will be the 6th of 15 ACC teams that will have opted out of bowl games. It is a different year. Good afternoon, my friend.
Yep, it is. Good to be on with you guys. And look, I think these commissioners are going to be happy just to be able to get through the season and through championship games. And the bowl games right now, I think, would probably be gravy So I still say it's remarkable how many games, fortunately, that we've been able to get in. And sets up some interesting championship games plus others. It is very strange to be playing football on the 18th and the 19th, but we love ball and look forward to these games and where they take us, and also Coastal Carolina and Louisiana and UAB and Marshall and Ball State and Buffalo and Boise State and San Jose State go along with the rest of them. That's fun with me.
Brent, it would be in the ACC's best interest to not play Saturday night. They would have two in the football four, no doubt.
They would, and that was probably a lot of the motivation, guys, for them not to play last week. Obviously, now again, if Clemson loses twice to Notre Dame, that's going to be, obviously, I would think, the end of it for them.
Sure.
But you're right. Listen, if they're not going to wish it on anybody, but if they end up weren't able to play that game because of COVID, they very likely would, or it would certainly give the committee a whole lot to think about.
Well, here's the toughest one for me. I mean, it's easy. If Clemson loses to Notre Dame again, Clemson's out. They lost twice to Notre Dame. They don't. Right. They have two losses. They don't deserve to be in.
No.
What if Florida, fresh off losing to LSU, is 23.5-point favorites? What if they were to beat Alabama? Alabama's the number one seed coming into the playoff picture by the committee, but they would have just lost to a team that has two losses. And how do you let the two-loss team in? I mean, there's major problems.
Dave, to answer that, I don't think they would. I think if Florida wins, I mean, maybe they would because of the SEC championship, and I understand that. But to have a Florida team lose to an LSU team that's as close to a junior varsity team as we've ever seen in a long time, I think that'd be a lot of hesitation on that committee's part. Let me say this: being in there in 2018 in that mock committee, we had a few what they would call revotes. There would probably be a lot of revotes that would have to happen before Florida got in.
Well, I don't understand how you could put how you could put in Alabama over Florida if Florida beats Alabama in the championship game.
Here's why, and I'm just giving it from from being on that committee and what would come out from that committee. Number one would be if Alabama loses, say, a close game to Florida, that they would say Alabama's passed the eye test the entire year, and they and I think that would be, and then they would still go on what happened with the LSU game, also with Florida. So I'm just telling you from the committee that I had, it was in there. It was a mock committee. That's where a lot of your logic would come from with them. Now, is it right? Is it wrong? That's debatable. But that's my guess where that committee would come from.
Well, and head to head is not. It's very, very important. And it's certainly the decider, kind of in a tie goes the runner case.
Yeah.
But it's not everything.
No.
It still would be 2 Florida losses to
Correct.
1 Alabama loss.
Yes.
I mean, it's not going to count as 4 losses if Florida beats them Saturday.
No, absolutely not. So, but again, and that's why, guys, that it was just so inexplicable for Florida to have the performance that they did on Saturday night, knowing that, or at least they should have known, that if you beat LSU, you're going to position yourself, as Dave said, for a opportunity if they win in order to go to, or maybe even if they lost a close game, but in order to go, and that's why it just baffled me that Florida was not ready to play that game.
Do you think this year has sort of taken some of the polish and left a tarnish on Dan Mullen? And I'm going to give a few instances here. What was it? Was it Missouri where where the two teams got into it,
right.
and he was egging them on?
Yes.
There was the embarrassment that he made Vanderbilt go through by refusing to go into their locker room just to make them look bad. And now there's
his
this.
comments after A&M and their fans, and then he was
right.
basically saying the virus wasn't real, and then he had it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the shoe throw that he tried to defend.
Yeah.
Just a couple days ago. I mean, if there's anything unsportsmanlike, that would be what that kid did.
And
he's
by the way, his defense.
Yeah.
His defense is terrible. What's your answer, Brent? I got mine. What's yours on Dave's question?
Does it take some of the tarnish off? As far as the PR look at it, I would say yes. But as far as the play caller, your riverboat gambler, let's throw it all around the yard. I mean, that's not going to affect him. It's not going to affect his recruiting. That they will still do fine. But no, I would agree with Dave. He from a PR perspective, he did not do himself any favors this year.
He didn't with the outside world, but with the one that matters, his boss, Scott Strickland. What you see is what you get with Thunder Dan, and if anybody knows it better than anyone on earth, it's Scott.
Yep. There's no question about that.
I mean, he can't walk in and go, "Gee whiz, I didn't know Dan Mullen would act like this."
Right. Yeah. And look, in the shoe throwing incident, beyond to dovetail what Dave said, the thing we've heard here is he developing a culture there among the players? And I know that's debatable, that would be created that would cause a kid to just lose it and make a play like that. But look, they should have been 3 touchdowns ahead in that game, and that shoe throwing wouldn't have mattered. Unfortunately, it did. So there's a lot that's going on there in what he's and listen. And he's already called. This is on the smaller scale, but he's already called Mac Jones, Alabama quarterback, another game manager type thing. So we'll throw that in there too.
Well, he really kind of is. Now he can make all the throws, but as an athlete, Mac Jones is a sack of bones.
Yeah,
but he gets the job done, and he is he's more than a functionary. But I don't think that is a huge slight from Dan Mullen. All the what ifs about Saturday, they don't matter. Bama's going to crush them. Was going to crush them if they'd have beat LSU.
I think Bama wins, but I think Florida plays one of their better games of the year. And here's how they can stay close. And I'm going back to the Ole Miss game to use this as a for instance. It's a thing of if Bama has to chase points all that game, it could get to the fourth quarter, meaning that if Florida scores first, Bama has a 3-and-out, Florida gets the ball back, they either score a touchdown or a field goal, it's 10 or 14-0, and you're chasing points half the game. I know Bama's scoring bunches, but that team they were embarrassed. They've got to be more focused and more motivated than they were. So, I mean, is Bama still the better team? Yes. But I think they'll play 4 better than they did Saturday night against LSU.
Brett, let me ask you this, and I'm just sort of playing devil's advocate here. Up until this weekend, Kyle Trask was very high on my Heisman list.
Sure.
And he took himself out of it. I mean, he did that on his own. He did not have a game up to standards of the way he'd played all year. But look what Matt Corral did to the Alabama secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that Kyle Trask can't have really good production against that? Has Alabama improved that much in the last 3-4 games?
No. My contention is, and if you misunderstood me, the thing that I meant is, I think when they get into a rhythm, Florida's as good as anybody on offense.
No. But I actually was gearing this to Brett, because Brett, was said no matter what happened against LSU, Alabama is going to kill Florida. And I'm just saying, he may be right, but if I go devil's advocate here, has Alabama's defense gotten a lot better since it played Ole Miss in the secondary?
It's gotten better. I don't know about a lot better, but I don't know about how bad Kyle Trask played Saturday night. He threw for 474.
Yeah, but he threw 2 interceptions and a fumble.
Yeah. Uncharacteristic.
And 2 touchdowns, and that goes with that position. Brent, you're a Heisman voter. Dave's a Heisman voter. I'm a Heisman voter. Let me paint a scenario since we're playing all these what ifs.
Yeah.
Let's say Alabama comes out and they just really lay it to Florida Saturday night.
Okay.
And Mac Jones plays great.
Right.
Najee Harris plays great.
Yeah.
And Devontae Smith plays great.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody on Sunday morning for an 11-0 team that has defeated every team in the SEC with the exception of South Carolina and Vanderbilt? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Bama would have handled them. But they didn't beat them, but they beat 11 others.
Yeah.
And those 3 performed very well. And you listed 1, 2, 3 for the Heisman, Bama.
Well, is that possible? Maybe. And again, I think some of that's going to be determined how now if Trevor Lawrence throws for 500 yards, what's that going to do for him? And also with Justin Fields, although you've got the argument with the Fields of has he played enough games? I saw an interesting tweet a few minutes ago that someone that has more time than 3 of us asked, I don't know if it was coaches or ADs or who, they said they asked 18 people, officials, coaches, whoever, in the SEC, who they would vote for in the Heisman, and 15 of the 18 voted for Devontae Smith. So
I think you have to look at Devontae Smith.
I think you do.
And I'll tell you a name you did not mention. Trevor Lawrence, if he cleans Notre Dame's clock, you got to take a look at him. Justin Fields, to me, he's only played Indiana.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
right.
now if he has a great game against Northwestern's defense is pretty good. Heck, for a while there, they didn't allow a score in the second half. So I'd have to look at that, but he's got a limited sample size. What if Ian Book goes crazy and they beat Clemson again and he gobbles up the numbers? You got to look at him. I mean, this is far from decided.
Oh, it is.
That's why we have to wait for Saturday. Anybody who voted early, I don't understand that.
Well,
and then there's Slovis at USC.
I agree.
He deserves a look.
Well, and Wilson at BYU early on, we thought he might do something more, but that they really didn't play enough games and the competition. But your point's a good one, and particularly with Book, because we remember Book played really well, did he not, against Clemson in that first game?
Great.
So, I mean, that's a great point. You put 2 of those in a row, and I tell you guys, I never vote until the Monday after, which is obviously the deadline at 5 o'clock on Monday, because I want to see how all these guys do. And look, I know some people do it, but man, for me, I wouldn't think about voting before Saturday.
Sunday's a good day.
Yeah.
Sunday's a good day.
True.
Anyway, it does make for interesting scenarios. You had a note today, and it involves Memphis's own Jimmy Sexton, who is, I think it was Alan Bell who put it. He single-handedly created an economic ecosystem where we think it's normal that Gus Malzahn, Will Muschamp, and Kevin Sumlin are worth $52 million basically to go away. $52 million those three guys are going to get.
Yeah, that's amazing, is it not? I know Brett and I were talking about him, Dave, when you weren't here a few Tuesdays ago, and it really is amazing. And people may not realize this, but how much he is involved with this shell game of coaches. And listen,
Sure.
he is as good as there's ever been at his craft. And look, if he doesn't get somebody a job, he gets him a raise, doesn't he, guys?
Well, yeah, right. Or if the guy leaves and he gets the payoff for Gus Malzahn, he's going to get the next guy in.
Yeah.
So he's going to get that. He's still getting that payment from Auburn.
Sure.
He does his job. He does it well, and he's not forcing any of them to pay that money if they don't want to. And I know the optics. I know the PR dynamic right now of seeing that kind of money for Gus Malzahn, while maybe a professor at the university is losing their job, or somebody in the sports information office losing their job, or somebody at the volleyball office. We've seen a bunch of that. But here's the deal on that. Yes, I'm very sad for those people at any time to lose their job. But these boosters largely donate this money
They do.
for football. They don't really care about the sports information office guy or the teacher or the radio guy or anybody else. They care about the football coach, and it's their money, and they can spend it how they want to.
Yep, absolutely. And see that's what you're seeing at Auburn. I mean, that $21 million basically is from your big money boosters who decided they would pony up to make that change, and they're struggling at this point, I think, or maybe they're trying to get their ducks in a row to hire another coach. But again, to Dave's point, it really is amazing, and I don't think people realize this enough. And again, Jimmy, to his credit, and I mean, he may do it in Memphis, but Jimmy doesn't call a lot of attention to himself, from what I can tell.
Zero. Can't stand it.
But he gets it because of what he does and who he represents, and so forth. And listen, I still say, and again, we know it's what the market allows, but for what he's done with these guys over the years and what he's been able to do for them, it's just he's created a cottage industry out of it. And I give him a lot of credit.
I will say this: I think he goes down for an industry the same way Curt Flood did for Major League Baseball players.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
There was no guy that was negotiating coaches' salaries like he does until he came along. He figured that out, and he was brilliant doing that. Because
absolutely.
Let's face it. I mean, if you're doing a young pro star in football or basketball, I mean, there's going to be a lot of late-night calls and some issues, and you got to get down there, and you got to negotiate them out, and you got to try to hide it from the press.
Sure.
And that doesn't happen for the most part with 45, 50-year-old college coaches. And, you know, he upped everybody's money. He's absolutely brilliant. There's no question about it.
Well,
and there's the famous story, Brent. There's the famous story that one time after some tough blocking and tackling negotiations with Coach Broyles at Arkansas, Coach Broyles told friends of his that, and even that he told Jimmy, he said, I really preferred it back in the days where I could negotiate just with me and my coach. Well, I bet you did, because you were screwing them all the whole time.
Sure he was.
I bet you loved it.
Now, and I'm curious if you've heard this like I have. The thing Sexton does, without belaboring the point too much here, is he probably has saved some of these guys' careers. And the thing that I mean by that is telling them, look, if you act this way or you say this, or you continue to act this way and you say this, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be hard for me to help you. You've got to be more mature, and you've got to make better decisions. I'm not saying he's telling them to change their personality, but I think he gives them and he's done this for several of them. Help me on this, Brett. But that he's given them probably some life-altering advice that has helped them go a lot further in their life than they would have without him.
No doubt.
All right, last thing real quick, because we're out of time. I love this note. 35 to 40%, and tomorrow is signing day. 35 to 40% of the top 100 players in America are either going to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, or Clemson. Has there ever been a more significant metric that would tell you the rich will stay rich?
And it tells you who is probably going to the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely no question about that. And yes, well, we will see that tomorrow. But it's just, I love. There's a lot of things about signing day I don't like. There's a lot of things about signing day that I really do like. And it's kind of really a shame that it's almost getting swallowed up this week with the championship games and everything else that's going on.
My friend.
But you knew it would when they moved to it.
Yep.
Happy holidays. Stay healthy. We'll talk sometime very soon. Thank you,
Good. Can't wait. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Brent.
Beard. Our friend down in Jacksonville. You know that our title sponsor for this hour has been for years. It's Homer Skelton Hyundai. We are so appreciative. And Genesis of Olive Branch. And again, they wanted me to say, please be patient on that new Genesis SUV. They got a couple in. They sold them out. They're still waiting for the second drop. They're trying to be as patient as possible, but this car is a special car. But really and truly, every Hyundai, every Genesis, in my mind, they are special. This new technology, so safe. Last year, 2020s, the Hyundai product was considered tied, actually, with another automaker as the most safe cars, the top safety picks of any cars in all of the world. That's the truth. And you know they're durable. Listen to what you get, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car. And because they believe in their product and they want to take care of you, in the last couple of years, they've developed this kind of service where they will give you a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package for free. They'll take care of your car for you. They've absolutely raised the bar. All you got to do is go find out. Just get on Lamar. It's Highway 78. And the very first exit in Mississippi is Craft Road, really close. Turn left, go see Chris True and all the gang. They've been there for 13 years together. They know how to take care of you at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We'll talk NFL in just a minute with our good friend, former Vol, former Ram, Jeff Moore. He comes your way in a minute.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
All 75 months at 3.4%. G4 LHF 129.69. MSRP 17,064. Outlander LZO 423.83. MSRP 26,235. PEV LZO 388.19. MSRP 38.1. Outlander PEV qualifies for a 5,836 federal tax credit. Consult your tax advisor. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See for complete details. Offer ends 12/31/2020. Dealer stock only.
Where can you find 0% APR for 60 months, plus up to $1,000 cash back on 2020 crossovers, plus $500 holiday cash, plus payments at $99 a month? We Gossip at Gossip Mitsubishi on the Pike during the 2020 year-end sales event. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, buy for $11,749 or $99 a month. 2020 Outlander, $20,571 or $259 a month. Plus crossover with 4x4 off-road capabilities with 74 MPG. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV, $25,099 or $299 a month. Not leases, you own them. And Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our second hour, we're about to be joined by our good friend Jeff Moore. The math was done, Brett, by Drew Barrett. I'm impressed. Now, this is without taxes. But if you take that new contract by Giannis and you divide it by, was that 72 that you did for this year?
Yeah, just divided it by 72.
Okay. That is, again, this is before taxes. He will make $638,000 per game.
I think he's worth every penny of it.
Wow. Wouldn't you love to know? You go to the gym, you start taking your clothes off, you put on your sweat socks, you go, I'm going to make $638,000 today. Man, that would be a good feeling.
And I think he's worth it because it is there. Those owners are making it hand over fist. It is the marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
He has an extraordinary, exceptional talent that few on earth can do to that level. And since somebody will pay it, he might as well get it.
That out of those 230, he should at the end of that contract in the bank have at least $120,000. Think about it. It's a great. Got to be. And think about this. He's only 26. He'll be up for the next one when he's 31. And he's a big guy. He's going to keep those skills.
And the money ain't going down.
No, it is not.
Well, I'm 26. Are y'all going to pay me $638,000 per show?
$638,000
per show. If he gets $638,000 per game, I should get the same per show, right?
Well, but you got 220 shows. You got 220 shows. He only has 72.
Yeah, and I think you're getting 638,000 quarter pennies. I think is what you're getting.
I think you are very gifted and talented. It's just that Giannis has a gift and a talent that few else have.
That is very accurate. It's hard to be that big, that athletic at the same time. And, good for him. He's really parlayed it. That's incredible. 638,000 smackers every time he ties up his shoelaces. Wow. Jeff Moore joins us now, and we talk NFL football with the former Ram, the former Volunteer, every Tuesday.
He's gotten game checks just like Giannis.
I don't think he's ever gotten 638,000 for one game.
I don't think our team has gotten that. As a matter of fact.
That may be true, Jeff. That may be true in the day. The whole team on a game day.
Oh, Lord. I guarantee an NFL football team now gets $638,000 a game. There's not one player, I don't think. What is Patrick Mahomes getting? Because he's only playing 16 regular season games. So he's probably in that same ballpark. But I want to get to the heart of the matter here. You've got to explain to me the great football mind that you are, and you're also a numbers guy. You're in commercial and residential real estate, so these things happen easy for you. You can explain these things incredibly easy. Why would you, if you're the Cleveland Browns, fall behind by 2 touchdowns, score a touchdown? You could be within 7, 1 score, 1 extra point kick, and instead you go for 2. Now, it worked. They got within 6. But why would you do that? Explain to me the reasoning behind that move.
I think they were a little concerned that their kicker was a little shaky at the time. Is the only thing I can think of as to why they would have gone for 2. Because you're right, they if they kick the extra point, then they're still good to go. They just their kicker was kind of having some head issues in that game, and they were kind of on a roll and feeling themselves. I guess they just kind of rolled the dice a little bit.
Jeff, I look at the Browns, and if the Ravens squeeze in as the 7 seed, and they as the 7 seed, and they easily could. I look across these potential playoff teams that we hear the term every year. They're going to be a tough out. I don't know that I see an easy out across football, including Washington and that young defense that they have, and the good ground game and the good running game and the stewardship of Alex Smith. I know he got a little dinged up last week, nothing near as serious as a horrific injury. But I don't know that I see an easy out. I don't know if I see a team out of those 14 teams go, yeah, we want them in the first round. That'd be simple.
No, I mean I think, and that's usually the way December shapes up. Is teams are peaking. The teams that are good teams are starting to play well and play well together, and then teams that maybe started out and have had didn't have good play early in the year and are not going to make the playoffs are still playing well, and players are playing for contracts or trying to play to stay with a team. And so sometimes they're playing their best football with not a great, impressive record. And so, December football for me is kind of one of my favorite times other than the start of the season because I've been waiting for it to start. But December, you really start to see teams really reach their peak and play well, I think.
I love the Alex Smith story. I think there's no doubt he's the comeback player of the year. I'm starting to think, though, about coaches of the year. And I'm really down to like 2. And they would be, I think you have got to look at Ron Rivera, who has absolutely changed the culture in Washington, and that correlates with Alex Smith and his and going through all the health, as you say, the cancer. And I guess the other would be Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
With Buffalo, I mean, you can throw Mike Tomlin in with Pittsburgh, but now they've lost a couple. You're not going to go with Andy
Brian
Reid
Flores
again.
in Miami.
Brian Flores with Miami. He's a guy that you would have to put up there. Those are the candidates, aren't they, Jeff?
They are, and my vote would definitely be Sean McDermott, and it wouldn't be that close. I think the way Buffalo is playing is really impressive. I think they're going to be a really tough out. I could see them giving Kansas City a tough time, not so much because I think they'd have a challenge keeping up with scoring with Kansas City, but I think that their offense is good enough where they can kind of play ball control and keep Patrick on the side, keep that offense of Kansas City on the sidelines because they're able to do sustained drives And that quarterback is just really playing great right now. They're well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't beat themselves. He would definitely be my number one vote for Coach of the Year, Sean McDermott.
And, Jeff, this year, and it would be in the AFC Championship game, third straight for Kansas City, and probably will be third straight for them to host. But it won't be that rocking crowd at Arrowhead. And if it's bitterly cold, what of it with Buffalo? They're used to it.
You faded there a little bit.
He was saying that, Kansas City's used to the cold, but so is Buffalo. Certainly not going to be a problem for them if they make that championship game and it's in KC.
All of a sudden, I'm not.
Apparently, let's put Jeff on hold here for just 1 second and see if we can't straighten out his signal. He can not hear us. We can hear him, seems to be the issue. And I agree with you. There is no advantage cold weather if you're talking about Buffalo.
Cold concrete's cold concrete if you're the visitor this year.
Right.
Because, I do think there's a huge 12th man advantage to those crowds in Kansas City or a crowd in Green Bay. But if Green Bay's the home team, now if they played a dome team like New Orleans or Los Angeles, I think that would really affect it affect them. But for Buffalo, go out and roll your sleeves up and play outside.
I don't think any Green Bay wouldn't matter either. Of course, they're not going to play in the championship game, but they're all used to that cold. That would not be a problem for Buffalo having to play in Kansas City. And as Brett is saying, there's not going to be a huge crowd. Now, they're allowing some, I think, in Kansas City, aren't they? They're allowing a percentage of like 20%.
And the crowd last night in Cleveland, they were into it, weren't they?
They were. Oh, yeah. Jeff?
Yeah, the crowd this year is just a non-factor, and it's one of the things that I think, for me, has just elevated my appreciation of the play of athletes, not only in football, but basketball, baseball as well, to see the kind of performances that we've seen without crowds. And we know, that crowd noise, gives you a burst of adrenaline and so forth. And to see the way these guys have competed without that crowd, to me, it's just been pretty amazing and impressive.
That is a great point. Tim Doolin was the first guy I can remember when the pandemic first started and baseball was talking about playing with no crowds and doing what they did. He said it's going to be harder to play on the road because a lot of players feed off of that negative thing where they're going to prove you wrong and really get to you, or you get the adulation from the home team. And yet, quality of play, despite in some places no crowds at all, it has been terrific. Great point, Jeff.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and I particularly can relate to, because when it's like practicing against your other team, and sometimes in preseason when we would maybe go down to the Chargers or a team that's local, and you would have 7-on-7 or just kind of practice against them, and it was competitive, but you still had a little bit of a crowd that would come to the practices and so forth, and it's just not nearly the same as having to play 4 quarters against an opponent where you don't have the crowd as part of the game. So my hat's off to not only football, but basketball and baseball with the way they've been able to do that.
Big game this week. It is in a dome, so there's not going to be an advantage. But Kansas City takes on New Orleans down in the dome. Drew Brees, I don't believe, is coming back for that game. Right now, they're sort of holding him back a little. What do you think about the way Hill has played quarterback and what Kansas City will be facing with New Orleans?
Well, I think the Redskins kind of exposed him a little bit. I mean, I think he was somewhat limited, and I don't know that Kansas City can put the kind of pressure on the quarterback that the Redskins were able to do. We'll have to see. They've not been noted for that kind of pass rush. But they really, I was impressed with the way the Redskins just continued to keep pressure on him and really got him off his game. And then, of course, who expected Jalen Hurts to have the kind of performance that he had? So the Saints showed some vulnerability, and I think they're already going to be challenged trying to keep up with the way Kansas City scores. I can't see that being a close game because I think Kansas City is just way too explosive offensively, and the Saints are just more of a methodical offense that needs long drives and so forth to be able to score. They just have not been a big play offense all year.
I agree, and even with Brees, they were dink and dunk down the field, and we'll see how that all plays out when Drew Brees is able to come back. Jeff, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Happy holidays to you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That is our friend Jeff Moore. He is brought to you in part by the good folks at Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. Okay, we've had some weather. We've had rain. We've had some wind. We've had some freeze. Have you checked your roof? Look, just go out there. Just take a little gander. Don't get up there to look at a little gander. Make sure that you see everything's basically in place, in order. No shingles are in disarray. I'm not saying get up there and look for rust spots. Some people will do that. Let my guys at Brian Elder Roofing Solutions do that for you. Doesn't cost any money. They're happy to come out. It's a free consultation. All you got to do is make that call to 867-0303. 867-0303. That is a number that has been made famous by Brian Elder, and now he's got help in making that number famous with our friend Chris Price. Call me. Chris Price has been involved, and they've been helping a lot of people. They'll come out. Don't let things get bad where all of a sudden your roof is an emergency service. You look up in your den and you've got wet spots all on the inside, and that's a paint job and everything else. Let them come out. They'll take a look. If they find something, they'll fix it. If it's really major, they'll call the insurance company for you. They never fix anything that doesn't need fixing. They would never put a new roof on that a small fix wouldn't fix. They're outstanding. Again, let them come out. They can measure your roof from outer space. We know that. They'd rather come see you. They got the best products on the market, and they got the best darn warranty. It's called No Questions Asked Warranty. They stand by their work. They'll take care of you. 867-0303. Chris Price, Brian Elder at Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. We take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Tiger basketball. They got a game tomorrow night against Tulane. Would you believe it? Tulane has not lost a game yet this year. They're 4-0. Holy cow. Maybe at Fogelman there'll be a game tomorrow. We'll talk about that in a second.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Rocking around the Kia rides, have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event. Command the season, and gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease, 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease, plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP 20,625, Soul M7755,682, MSRP 20,315, K5 MG 003199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Taking on that next oil change yourself is a great idea. We can help you get started. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $31.99. You can even get it all fast your way with our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Kick off your New Year's weekend at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Thursday, December 31st at 3 o'clock. Top teams from the SEC and Big 12 will be here. We'll be following all of the required health and safety guidelines to provide you the safest conditions possible. So wear your mask and join us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. For tickets, call 795-7700 or go to Ticketmaster.com. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why.
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together.
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Hard to believe that the conference basketball season is getting set to begin. Tomorrow night, Tigers will be in New Orleans. They'll be at the Fogelman Arena, Devlin Court, and they will be taking on a team that hasn't lost a game. Can you believe that? They have just a drastically different roster from last season. Ron Hunter has replaced 80% of the scoring. I don't even recognize half of the guys on this team, but they have been good so far. They are 4-0, beating Lamar, beating Lipscomb, beating Southern Miss by 20, 58-38. Southern Miss couldn't score but 38 points against this Tulane team, and they beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 67-56. So it's a whole lot different team than the one we saw last year. Remember that tall Chinese player who could shoot threes like crazy hurt Memphis in one game at the one at Fogelman. And obviously there's no KJ Lawson. He's gone. And then they had a really good player that transferred, and he went to I think he's on a top 10 team. So it
might have DeAndre Williams for the Tigers tomorrow night. That feels like that's building to critical mass. Other than maybe playing them opening night of the year, and I don't remember that. Maybe one time to launch the Metro, they may have opened against Tulane. I can't ever remember a game where the Tigers played Tulane where Tulane was undefeated and the Tigers weren't.
No, I can remember Tulane coming undefeated to play at the Mid-South Coliseum in that doubleheader, but they wouldn't play the Tigers. They played another team. Remember, you used to have that opening. It was in December early.
Mid-South Classic, yeah.
That's exactly what it was called, Mid-South Classic. And, in fact, I'll never forget, in that first game, a Tulane game, one of the this is early 80s, 81 or 82, somewhere in there. And the referee, basket's made, the referee hands the ball to a Tulane player. The Tulane player inbounds the ball. They both take a step out. The referee takes one step and, boom, fell to the floor, passed away instantaneously. He was dead when he hit the floor.
Yeah.
Never forget that.
Yeah. Now, Dave, tell me that night, did the game proceeded? Didn't it?
The game proceeded. They sure did. They had, in those days, they had like an extra ref that would keep the books. He was like the official scorer, And that person, I'm almost certain, came out and was the referee. And now remember, those were only 2-man ref games. They didn't have 3 refs in those.
That's
days.
right.
So,
and the news much better today on the Florida player.
You know what? I've been meaning to try and find any kind of news on that. Well, Drew, why don't you look that up and we'll.
There is news.
Florida,
It broke about an hour ago. Florida released a statement. Yeah.
Okay, what are they saying? We'll get that statement.
He's
in
breathing
a
on his own, no longer on any breathing assistance, and
is he out of the induced coma?
Yes, he is having conversations with his parents and his doctors, and everything. It seems to be on the up and up. And
really doing better.
That is fantastic
looking good for him.
news. Man, that is fantastic news. And you said this yesterday, and I am 100% with your statement. I hope they really are specific and they come clean with details about what this was, because there are a lot of people that are holding their breath thinking this is an association with COVID-19 and myocarditis, and we need to know that so that we can be either more aware and more alert, or we can relax and say, okay, this wasn't a part of that. We don't have to worry about that. And I think that is very important that
we just have to know
that they are.
Knowledge is power.
Right. One last thing. We'll end our conversation on the Tigers here. This will be interesting to note. Penny Hardaway had been like the defensive coordinator, and he was letting Cody Topper be the offensive coordinator. He said yesterday he's going to go back to really kind of running both. He said it has nothing to do with Cody. He's done a beautiful job, but he wants to be the guy now that's just over every detail. So we will keep our eye on that tomorrow night. That is 2 hours in the books. When we come back, more NFL football. Our friend from collegetopro.com, Bo Marchand on the NFL. He's next.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Rocking around, the Kia rides have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South. Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event. Command the season. And gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP 20,625, Soul M7755,682, MSRP 20,315, K5 MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Shell Done? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now and go Tigers.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Bo Marchant will talk NFL with us coming up. We're glad Drew's here today because I know he was celebrating into the wee hours of the morning last night with his Ravens in that miracle win. In the NFL, it's in the final leg of the season, as Jeff Moore just told us. I think this is the best time of the year with all the playoff implications. College basketball back in full force. Tigers tomorrow night in New Orleans against Tulane. NBA, it's almost here. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, like refunding all the +3, 3.5, and 4 numbers last night with Cleveland. You didn't lose, even when you thought you lost if you were FanDuel. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlays and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest event in bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game. If you win, you get your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Place any bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. No strings attached. Seriously, just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Now's the time to sign up. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to one and all from DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road in DeSoto County, where they're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area at 5704 Goodman Road. Go online and check out the referrals and look at all the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutosales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County and have that fun car experience. No pressure. You have the ultimate car experience because they care about your time, and they know we're living in a world today that time really matters, and that's why within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're gone in your new car. It's that simple. They make it that easy with their kind, courteous staff, no high-pressure sales, laid-back atmosphere, and they know that we are living in a world today that time matters, and that's why they'll get you in and get you out of there in the car of your choice at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience with the good people at DeSoto Auto Sales.
One little follow-up to the Keontae Johnson story. This is really even better. It's remarkable. He actually FaceTimed the team today. That's how improved
prayers
he
answered.
is. Yes.
Woo.
And his parents thanked everybody. He said
great medical
they
care
said
answered.
Nika and Maurice Johnson said they will continue to share updates about Keontae's health and progress. We've seen how much people love and care for him. We hope people recognize that information that doesn't come from us or the athletic department may not be accurate. So they're going to be the ones that are going to disseminate the information, and that's fantastic. So we will thank them for all of those updates, and the fact that that he's FaceTiming when he was in an induced coma just 30 hours ago. It's a miraculous story. Thank God for that. It is terrific. In the meantime, let's talk NFL football with our friend from collegetopro.com, the one and only Bo Marchant. Bo, what a game last night. Some people say the game of the year. It had comebacks. It had pressure plays. I thought it was good play for the most part. It had the crazy ending with a safety that actually swung the cover, which has been the talk of the country today. It was a really, really top-notch Monday Night Football game.
It was, you had this upstart Cleveland Browns team against their former selves on the Baltimore Ravens, and then I think it made it symbolic that you have this, Lamar Jackson's in the locker room getting, he has cramps, he's getting the IVs, and lo and behold, Trace McSorley goes down with a knee injury, and then who comes out? Lamar Jackson, and then in the next play, he throws a 44-yard touchdown to Hollywood Brown. That is scripted Hollywood Brown stuff. If that was in the theaters, we would have said it was a little cheesy when that happened. But to see it in real life was magnificent. And, that was a fantastic game. And if you're a Browns fan, you're disappointed. It was, it would have been a great victory. But at the end of the day, any one of those teams were deserving of it. And Baltimore, they got enough time left. With the minute 4, I said, this is going to be a bad spot. I was watching the game with my wife, and I said, you can't let Kareem Hunt score, but they should have almost, it was just a weird position, and then, you got to score the touchdown because you don't even know if you get tackled at the 1, if you're going to get the ball back in, so you got to score. But at the end of the day, it was a fantastic game.
It was, and in defeat, we've talked about this some today, out of the ashes of defeat sometimes is really when a future great team really gets formed. I think a lot of the country watching the game last night came out of that game with a better impression of Baker Mayfield than they probably entered into it with, Bo.
Yeah, he made it. He did the pick six, that hurt, but he made the plays. He picked apart that Ravens secondary, and I know they were banged up, but nonetheless, he made the plays that were available to him, and he made some clutch plays. And at the end of the day, it's frustrating. If you're a Cleveland fan, it's heartbreaking because this would have put you a game back of the Steelers. It really puts you in another hemisphere in terms of playoff ramifications. But it hurt. And on the flip side, you had a Ravens team. They're back against the wall. That was a must-win game to stay in the playoff hunt. That was, and Cleveland almost got them, but Baltimore was resilient, and it was a great game. 2 AFC North teams, and with that victory for the Ravens, you got to think that it's possible that three AFC playoff teams are going to come out of the North.
I think it went where that Baltimore team was desperate. They had to win. Cleveland's got a little breathing room, and I'm with Brett. I walked away feeling better about Cleveland than I did before the game, and better about Baker Mayfield, even though he did throw the pick six, than I did before. He made some mistakes early in the game. He kept his composure, and he kept them in the game, and he marched them down with a chance, to have put the game away. It just did not work out. They did tie it. Pressure-packed situations, both sides, and everybody was coming through. I have a tough question for you now.
Uh-oh.
I think we all would agree Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. Who, Bo Marchant, is the second best team in the AFC?
Ooh, that is a fantastic question. You know what? I still have to go. I know they've slipped the last 2 games, but I believe Pittsburgh can right the ship. I think this hiccup game with just enough time where they can resurrect the boat and get things straight for the playoffs. Being in Buffalo Sunday night, if you go back and look at the history, I was actually going through the numbers. Ben Roethlisberger is 4-1 against the Bills. He was 4-0 prior to that game, but statistically, he's a 94.2 QB rated passer in his career, and when he plays the Buffalo Bills, he's 67. And his statistics are atrocious when you think about his body of work against every other team. But Buffalo had they had a great plan, and Pittsburgh's out of sync. And I talked to Keith Butler. It was a media Zoom call, but my question to Butler last week, when he came on for the media Zoom was, you know, how frustrating, how crazy was these last 3 weeks. And he kind of chuckled and he said, it was, daggone. He goes, this was, 3 games in 12 days. And he kind of shook his head. He goes, I've never seen anything like this. And he was just talking. You could tell it really took a toll on the players. He was talking about the players recovering. So I think a fresh outlook. Next week, the Steelers are going to be in Cincinnati. I think that's the perfect recipe to get things back on track. So if they slip again, I might change my mind. But at the end of the day, I still think they got a franchise quarterback in Ben. I know they got some depletions on defense, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to be right there.
This stretch starting now is one of my favorites of the year for the NFL. It normally is when I have slowed down and I can be at home and watch all these games. And this weekend I can't do that because I think I'm going to be in Baton Rouge for Ole Miss and LSU. But we got a game Thursday. We have 2 Saturday, the full slate Sunday, the game Monday, and it feels like every single game with playoff implications.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, we talked, all through the summer. There was a point, especially leading up to maybe about 2 or 3 weeks away from the kickoff to the 2020 NFL season. We would speak, and it felt that it might not happen. And to think that we've had, they've had to make adjustments and they've done everything they can to keep things going. So there's not an extra week in the schedule for the NFL. But yeah, the NFL season, I think, has been really great. I think they've done everything they can. Absent of the bubble, like, NBA basketball, they've been able to get these games managed and through. And at the end of the day, we have, you have the upstart team and the Arizona Cardinals. There's just some new faces. You think of the Cleveland Browns and the history that they bring to the league, and they're in the playoffs. I think there's some excitement. Everyone's in love with Patrick Mahomes, as they should be. So the Chiefs are going to be right there. You still have the stalwart and Drew Brees in New Orleans when he gets back. So, you have a little mixture of new and old, and I think that makes it or makes it fun. And you still have those lingering outside looking in New England Patriots. So until I think, that they're out, I still think there's a lot of coaches and GMs out there that are hoping that, those wins don't stack up, because even if they were the last wild card team in the AFC, I don't think anyone wants to face Bill Belichick.
We talked about it a little earlier. That there's no doubt the comeback player of the year is going to be Alex Smith. And it's done. That's in the books. Who's the coach of the year, and would it be Alex Smith's coach for what he's overcome and changed a terrible, toxic culture in Washington?
I think you nailed it, Dave. I think that's exactly Ron Rivera. Riverboat Ron. I think he is the guy. If they continue this success, and I'm not saying they have to win out, but they win the division. With all that he went through, and they said missing no games while he was going through treatment, and this is where I applaud him. It's a little reminiscent of Russell Wilson, back in the day when they had him as a rookie. As you had a second year Dwayne Haskins, and they see this kid, but it would have been easy to say, hey, you know what, let's keep this kid in and see what we had. But they were, they wanted Kyle Allen in. They didn't want Haskins as quarterback. And when Alex Smith was ready, he came in after Allen went down. I shouldn't say it was ready, but, it's kind of been a Cinderella story. And then you match that with Ron Rivera. I think both of those guys, I think those are your winners. If I would be shocked at this point, especially this late in the year, that we would find somebody emerge that would outdo those two names.
The Las Vegas Raiders, first year in Vegas, if they don't make the playoffs, what do we say about the John Gruden experience so far?
I get mixed. They played the Chiefs tight. They beat the Saints. It's weird is they really play the strong teams of the league very well, and that they're victorious. They have those hiccups against teams that you think they should handle, and they went to the wire with the New York Jets, which should have never been the case. And then you look at some of the games where again they played these top echelon teams and they beat them. I think Gruden's actually done better than I thought. I still resent the fact that they got rid of Khalil Mack and they talked about money. And then last spring, they decided to give it a disenchanted Antonio Brown up to $20 million a season to play receiver over at the age of 30. So if it's coming down to dollars and cents, it's hard for me to listen to that statement about Khalil Mack at a once time, generational type guy at this position. And then you're going to give all that money to Brown. But You know what? I think it's the consistency. I think they're playing better than what I thought they were. So I mean, I think that's a plus from when I on the outside looking in at Las Vegas. But I think it's they weren't that good. I think the hype of Derek Carr and company going into when he got the job, but they traded Amari Cooper. We didn't know if they were going to keep Derek Carr, and I still don't know how much we all believe that he's still the guy, even though he's there and we know we're going to have another off season. But at the end of the day, I think Gruden, I would give him 2 thumbs up, put it that way. I think for the talent that was on the team, they could be worse. Again, I will always look back at the Khalil Mack move and think, you can give somebody 9 draft picks in the first round, but you're going to be very hard to find a guy like Khalil Mack. And, Dave knows, and he's a Bears fan. I mean, how many times does Khalil Mack make those plays and make that team, the team that, you kind of identify the Bears with Khalil Mack, and they gave him up for 3 draft picks. And I don't really think any of them have really turned into, anything close to Khalil Mack. And again, you lost the money. You got egg on your face over Antonio Brown. So with all that said, though, I still like what Gruden has done. I'm excited for next year when we get to see that stadium, hopefully in Vegas field. I think that will just add to the lore of the Raiders' mystique, and I think that will even make it a harder place to give them some home field advantage.
I'm trying to remember if I know Gruden was there, but was that a Gruden move on Khalil Mack, or was that a Mark Davis move?
Well, I know I believe, and I'm 99% positive that Gruden was, GM head coach at that time. So, that to me, that's a Gruden move. Now, if Mr. Davis, the son, didn't want it, want Khalil Mack, and that's a whole nother saga. But at the end of the day, like I said, to say it's dollars and cents, and then you go out and you bring Antonio Brown in, I just think that's, it's hard for me to get past it. But at the end of the day, hey, the Bears, I thought the Bears made out on that. I think any time we look at that for Trent.
Well, the Bears haven't cashed in on that deal yet either.
I just, it's hard to pick a guy that you think's going to replace. Look at Troy Williamson when the Vikings got rid of Randy Moss. I mean, fine, you have the 6th or 7th pick in the first round, but it doesn't mean you're getting a guy that you could have a first round pick every single year. Yeah, but I mean, guys like that, a Khalil Mack or Randy Moss, to me, you got to get something substantial in terms of a prospect back. Sometimes like baseball, at least you're going to get a minor league back. I know that's a little different in football, but at the end of the day, just to get draft picks, that's tough sledding in my book.
Bo, you know what Dave said yesterday? He said that after the way Mitch Trubisky played on Sunday, he would work his way into a great year next year and someday go to Canton to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I don't believe that. Dave, did you really say that?
Well, we have a little thing we call the overreaction of the week. So I did say that, but that was with tongue in cheek.
Yes. I forgot that part of it, but I'm sorry.
And this is the truth that Brett also fails to remember. But on Friday, when we were making our picks, I said Trubisky would be great, and Nagy would have a great game, and the Bears would win the game going away. And you know why? Because it didn't matter anymore. There's 2 guys that can't handle pressure. And I think Nagy has to go. If the next guy wants to give Trubisky a shot, okay, give it to him because you're stuck with him for a little bit. If you could find a quarterback, great. But I think Nagy is proven. Same way I feel Rivera is maybe the coach of the year. I think Nagy is the guy that's got to go.
Yeah, and for you, if you want Nagy to go, you don't want to root against the Bears, but if they get hot and to say they went out or they have, a nice push at the end, it may make, the decision a little bit more difficult. And the one thing about Nagy that I didn't like throughout this season was when he benched Trubisky, he was basically said we're not going back to him. And I just don't think that's a good mindset. I don't know what, Nick Foles is a veteran. I don't think he was going to look over his shoulder for this guy that, has to take the beating of Mitchell Trubisky where, he has no love from the media. Fans dislike him. Everything he does is, magnified 10 times worse than if any other quarterback does it. So I just thought that was foolish words to say that we're not going to go back him unless Foles is, not healthy enough. I just think that's not a good statement because you really don't know who you may need. And I think if they're on the roster, they're there for a reason. You need all hands on deck, and especially the way that they started out hot. They had that big gap of losses. So I just think at the end of the day, those are foolish words to use. I have nothing against Mitchell Trubisky. I want the kid to succeed, and I think he's in a bad situation. I mean, I hope he can resurrect his career, and we know he's never going to be Tom Brady. We know he's never going to be Patrick Mahomes, but can he be a serviceable guy that maybe, can play another 6 to 7 years? I think that's within the realm of possibilities, and we've seen other quarterbacks do it, but even that 7 or 8 years is a long time. But at the end of the day, I think that offense has come alive in Chicago. I mean, we've seen in the past weeks, David Montgomery, he's starting to get in the end zone. He's starting to have bigger games. I mean, this last 3 weeks, he's probably had more yards than the previous 6. So at the end of the day, they're moving the ball, and you have that defense. And that defense with who? Khalil Mack, who they got off the Raiders for basically minutes. So at the end of the day, the Bears, they're going to be it's going to be a tough way to get in. But nonetheless, I like seeing Mitchell Trubisky play well. I didn't think Nick Foles was ever going to be the answer. He's a journeyman. Even if he played well, you're going to be in the same boat that you're in now, looking for a quarterback. At least you have a young guy who still teams might like, and if you want to move him, you might get something. So at the end of the day, the offense is playing. Yeah. Yeah,
they have a lot of teams to pass to get that 7 seed.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. They had their shot, but that big, that middle of the season slump, you can't lose 4 or 5 straight games and expect to,
they lost 6
be in the
games,
playoffs.
6 games in a row.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But at the end of the day, the offense is playing well, and for you, Dave, if you want Nagy out, you better hope that offense struggles a little bit.
I think it'll take care of itself. I hate to say it, but I truly do. And I think in that division, it's very clear Green Bay is really good. And Aaron Rodgers, I was thinking, you know what? Aaron Rodgers is going to slow down this year. He doesn't have the weapons. Remember how angry he was when they drafted Love, and everybody was saying, well, they've basically given up because they're not giving Aaron Rodgers any help, any targets. And the guy's had one of the best years. He's actually gotten better. There's no slippage in at all. It's only improvement, I think, in the way he is playing the game this year.
Yeah, the one thing I kept going back to is we watched them struggle last year, even though they finished 13-3, and they had all the accolades of a winning team. There was something missing, and Aaron Rodgers wasn't himself. We could, he looked disappointed sometimes in games because it just wasn't a flowing offense. A lot of Aaron Jones, a lot of running the ball, that passing attack of what we reminiscent of seeing Aaron Rodgers do, he wasn't doing. And, they always said, I think it was with Matt LaFleur, with Matt Ryan, they said the second year is when, the numbers are really going to jump. So I said, you know what, before I jump the gun and say this is going to be a downfall year for Rodgers, he is going into the second season with Matt LaFleur. Let's see what happens. And everything that you said has kind of come to fruition. He's been that guy. He's been the prolific Aaron Rodgers that we're accustomed to seeing. And him and Devontae Adams, you could argue that they're the best QB receiver, combination in the National Football League. It seems like week in, week out, they're making big plays, and they do it just enough. But, Aaron Jones is such a spark plug. I love watching that kid play. Every time he's going to get the ball, run or pass, he's picking up tough yards, making exciting plays. 2 weeks ago with the game almost out of hand, he had that 60, 70-yard run to put the game out of reach to help, Green Bay win that game. So I think they're a better team. They may not be 13-3. They're going to be darn close. But at the end of the day, I think this is a better team than we saw last year, just because arguably one of the NFL's best players is playing at the top of his game, and I don't think that was the case last year for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Any special plans you got for the weekend right before Christmas?
We're actually having an elf party over our friends. We usually, I don't know how much time we have, but I'd say about over a decade ago, a group of our friends, couples, we had like 8 of us, and the 8 of us would go to this nice restaurant. We had it, and then it grew. Last year we had to rent out like a hall because there might have been 25 or 30 couples. Obviously with COVID, we know, there's no Christmas party. So it's just us and another family with the kids. We've grown up together with the kids. And so we're going to have an elf party and just celebrate before, Christmas next week. How about you guys?
We're playing it low key for sure.
Low key and safe. We'll get them in 2021 though, Bo.
Absolutely.
We'll visit next week too.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Bo. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bo.
Yep. Stay safe, gentlemen.
You too.
You got it.
That is Bo Marchant, collegetopro.com. He is brought to you in part by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. And, of course, there is Genesis of Olive Branch, where we're still waiting on that SUV. I know, I sound like a broken record. But they told me I got to be patient. They actually had a couple of cars. They sold them out. That SUV is outstanding. It's the thing that's been written about in these publications, likened to a $300,000 luxury car, and it's about a $50,000 to $70,000 SUV, depending on the package that you're going to buy. It is incredible with that technology that they have. Look, every Hyundai, every Genesis car, from the G70, the 80, the 90, or this SUV, you are always going to get a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. That's part of the standard of operation. The technology is so good and so durable. Same thing with the Hyundais. Hyundai safety technology, #1 in the world last year, tied with another auto maker for the most number of safety picks at the top spot. It's just outstanding. And now let me tell you about my guys. They are right down Lamar into Mississippi. You get to Craft Road, exit 1, turn left. You'll see Chris True. He's the general manager. You see a guy like Ray Melton, who's been around the car business in Memphis for 45 years. This particular group has been together for 13 years. They have established a rapport. They have in place procedures that just raise the bar. For instance, now they'll deliver Genesis cars to you. Even if you want to take a test drive, you call Vincent Gerard. He's fairly new. He's over the Genesis cars now. You call Vinny and just say, hey, look, I want to take a look at the car. They'll bring it to you. They absolutely have made an improvement. They have really kind of set the standard for the way car business should be done, and I want you to go find out for yourself. Please tell them we sent you when you go to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. When we come back, the original beat writer of the Grizzlies on the Tigers exhibition games, on the signing of Giannis today, and a whole bunch more. He is the one and only Ron Tillery. He comes your way next.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Everybody could use a little comfort this holiday season, and with Casper's holiday sale, you can give the gift of a cozy bedroom with 10% off site-wide for a limited time. Along with their outrageously comfortable mattresses, Casper makes bed frames, pillows, duvets, blankets, and more to transform any bedroom into a comfort oasis. Do you need a gift idea? Wrap up the calming weighted blanket, smooth silk pillowcases, or a plush foam pillow or two. The Casper dog bed is durable, comfortable, and pup approved. Treat yourself to the ultimate comfort. A supportive and cooling wave hybrid mattress, now 10% off. Only Casper mattresses are made with 86 supportive gel pods to align your spine and eliminate aches and pains. It is the supportive comfort you need to wake up refreshed and ready to go. And as always, Casper offers free shipping and free returns. So give the gift of a better bedroom. Get 10% off everything during Casper's holiday sale right now at Casper.com. Terms and conditions to apply. See Casper.com/terms for more details.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
How's the Christmas shopping going? Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch is here to make it a lot easier. Everyone loves something from Frontier. Ladies' boutique style clothing, Carhartt for the guys, and boots for everyone. For Frontier's boutique department, you'll find the latest trends at incredible prices. We also carry a huge inventory of basics like leggings, tops, tunics, dresses, CC beanies, scarves, gloves, new styles of fleece jackets, and much, much more. Guys will be after Frontier's large assortment of Carhartt and Ariat jeans and shirts. Now, how about a new coat, jacket, or insulated overalls? Frontier has that too. Don't forget the boots. Work boots and dress boots from Rocky, Dan Post, Ariat, and more. Frontier is the place to come for name brand boots at an everyday low price. There are thousands of boots available in all sizes for men, women, and children. Frontier gift cards are also available and make a perfect last-minute gift. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or shop online 24/7 at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
A lot of NBA news today. Grizzlies just made a move, too. In fact, they have signed Zaire Smith, who played a little bit for the Sixers and for Delaware in the G League. And they got Benny Boatwright, who was, I think, injured last year and was a Memphis Hustle player. And to make room for them, they have already waived guards Jaleel Tripp and Marco Guduric. So Marco,
a fan favorite on Twitter, a Grizz fan, Marco Guduric.
I know he
right up there with the John Conchar infatuation.
He is out. He is out. Giannis is in Milwaukee for a while, and I want to get the reaction of the original beat writer of the Memphis Grizzlies from the south side of Chicago, the one, the only, Ron Tillery. Ron, does it bode well for Memphis to see a guy like Giannis get a supermax deal, biggest contract ever, 5 years, $228.2 million. That's $46.64 million per year. Does that sort of make you think, well, if the Bucks could do it, so could the Grizz with Morant or Jackson or the both of them?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. First, let me just start off by saying that if this call isn't executed very well, I will not throw a member of my family on the bus, a la Penny Hardaway. So let me just get that straight. But listen, when in this day and age, when you have a chance to sign for the most money, you do it. I mean, it's no different than when Mike Conley. Remember, it was fleeting, but it happened. Mike Conley signed the richest NBA contract in history when he signed for $153 million.
Right.
So, you know, what we see time and time again, guys, is these guys sign for that money, and then they'll try to force their way out if they're not happy. So I don't even think it's a big deal that Giannis signed that deal. You know, that's agent-driven. Because, you know, agents like to get their 4 or 5% too.
So you don't take
solace. You think it portends nothing?
No, I don't think so. You just get the money while it's on the table. And then if you're not happy and you want to be somewhere else, then you do what James Harden is trying to do. You force your way out.
Or really what Kyrie Irving did, right? Isn't it? He
right.
got the big bucks and then split the scene. So that point is well taken. And honestly, I thought it was a good sign for the small market teams. But you're right. Once you have the money, all the leverage is yours. If you really decide this is not working out, I'm hoping.
I did too, Ron, and you just dropped a bomb on Smallville.
Well, I tell you what, and I'm glad you guys use those two words, small market, because I'm getting sick of hearing how much small markets can compete. The late great Michael Heisley once led a civil war with the owners in the last collective bargaining agreement with the owner in Minnesota, the owner in Milwaukee. Even Mark Cuban joined the fray to say that we need better revenue sharing amongst our teams. And so now, you just can't say it with a straight face that small markets can't compete. Everybody can get paid anywhere. And this is just more proof of that.
You think it's an excuse?
It's absolutely an excuse. It's my GM is smarter than yours. Look what the Oklahoma City's guy Sam Presti keeps doing. He keeps rebuilding. He took in Chris Paul a couple years ago, paying him $30-something million in Oklahoma City. It is an excuse. Small markets can compete if they have smart people.
All right, so let's go back to that. I'm glad we are in this direction because I wondered. I look at Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. They all have the same amount of salary cap, right?
Exactly.
So they either are under it or they're willing to pay a tax and go over it. And you would think with two Supermax guys, with Irving and Durant, that they're over it. I don't even know if they are. Is it possible under that scenario, using those two guys, that the Grizzlies could sign two Supermaxes, both Jaren Jackson and John Morant?
Absolutely. Listen, before it was even in vogue to pay the tax, again, I'm going to invoke the late, great Michael Heisley, was paying the tax when he had Jerry West because he gave him every resource possible to try to win. So if you've got a guy like Robert Parra in Memphis who is worth billions and billions of dollars, with over 10 maybe, I don't know.
I think the last time I saw it was like 11.7 bill.
Yeah, so he has to be willing to. They can absolutely sign these guys. It's really a stroke of a pen. This whole small market thing is out the window. People need to stop talking, as Stat said, as an excuse because there is such a robust revenue sharing system now in the league that my friend and Memphis's great friend, late great Michael Heisley, helped institute.
Ron, who will be the next small? If it's not the Bucks, who's the next Smallville that can be dreaming of having a parade?
Wow, that's a great question. I think you can look at a couple cities. I'm just thinking about the West. Sacramento has a lot of talent. Phoenix has a lot of talent, and they're not big markets, but they've got talented players.
They're Mediumville,
yeah, and you've seen it with San Antonio, which is not a big market. I think it's more possible now. I know, like back in our heyday, when we just saw the Lakers and the Celtics and the Sixers, and only a few teams win. I think now it's just incredibly more possible for small market teams to do it. I think what Milwaukee did, going back to your original question, is they showed Giannis that they're all in. And just like the Clippers did with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in trying to win now. And they made a lot of nice changes with the Bucks, and they enticed him to want to stay. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't be the Eastern Conference representative in the finals this year.
Well, I thought during the regular season last year they had a really good shot, and they have not played well in the playoffs. They've been about as good as Paul George has been in the playoffs for Los Angeles. And, we can go back to all the small market stuff, but I'm going to go back to, Ron, what you said. You got to have a smart GM. Look at New York. We're talking about we were talking about Willis Reed, the way Lamar Jackson came out of the locker room last night after having cramps and IVs, and he ran out and saved the day, the way that happened for the Knicks with Willis Reed back in 1970. Mm-hmm. And that's the last time they won a title, 1973. That's the number one market in the country.
Yep. And people can talk about how they cheated to get Patrick Ewing all they want. But again, they've just made bad decision after bad decision. So is Chicago after the Jordan era.
After Michael.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to say after they lucked into Derrick Rose, because when Derrick Rose was at his peak, he had done pretty good.
But there was no championship.
There was no championship.
They got
right.
blindsided by LeBron. They put LeBron on Derrick, and poor Derrick could do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, and then again, I'll just point back to Sam Presti in Oklahoma City. I mean, he has managed to do a fantastic job with that franchise, keeping them relevant. And now he's going to tear it down to build it back up. And there's no reason why the fan base or the ownership should not trust him to do it, because he can. And you just have these issues in different markets. Detroit, there's just some places where, Chicago. I don't think Chicago still has it right. New York, obviously, because they're on 50 million GMs and coaches, and so it does take a smart basketball mind. But the main point is all these franchises have the resources.
Ron, one good thing about being, again, Smallville is Memphis and New Orleans and Charlotte and Indiana and Sacramento and all of off-Broadway, quite literally off-Broadway. We almost can't get in the trouble the Knicks got in because it's just not doable from the jump.
Yeah, well, that's why you have to, when we talk about being smart, that's why you have to draft smart. You have to make good trades and be smart in free agency. I think, if we're going to throw the Grizzlies into this loop, they've shot themselves in the foot on all of those fronts too many times. And so now the challenge is
repeated.
How are we going to build around these two young stars in Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant? And we've talked about momentum, I think, a lot of times on this show. And one of the good things about the Grizzlies coming into this preseason is they're picking up on that momentum based on Ja Morant's performance. He's been spectacular, and he needed that because he was playing very poorly in the bubble. And he's coming out like he knew that and like he wanted to change your mind about where his game is going.
What would you say about the moves that have been made by Zach Kleiman so far? I mean, look, you got some luck when you got Ja. That was a no-brainer. I think it was a good draft decision to get Jaren Jackson, but I don't think that was Kleiman's pick back then. But he did get Morant.
It was not.
And they made moves. I think Valanciunas is an underrated player. Last night, now granted it's an exhibition game, but Karl Anthony Towns supposed to be a superstar, and Valanciunas was, in my mind, and what I saw, was the better player last night. That doesn't mean it'll be that way forever, but he's made some moves, and now he does all these volume things like the Guduric thing today. These are all at the very end of the bench if they even play at all. We'll see. Bain to move up to get a guy, in the last two picks of the second round. Of the first round. We'll see if that has any real relevance to it. That didn't really cost you much. It appears they identified a guy and they went up and were aggressive about it. So on a PR front, especially when you don't really know, it looks good. What's your sense of what he has accomplished in the short period of time he's been in charge?
Well, he's holding the fort, and I don't want to sound critical, but, wake me up when they make the Western Conference Finals again. That was a lot of heavy lifting that the Heisley, Chris Wallace, Lionel Hollins regime did to get that group of players to win that big. So right now, I'm just going to judge Kleiman solely on how Justice Winslow turns out, because they moved a lot of chips into the middle of the table to get him. And the kid has not played. And he is supposed to be a very integral part of this team going forward when you pair him with Ja and Jaren. I talked to a lot of people around the league when they got him, and a lot of people around the NBA love Justice. And I want to see him play, and I want to see him perform, and I want to see him contribute. I think that's Kleiman's biggest move so far. Right now, he's just kind of holding down the fort.
It's hard to say you love a guy who's really not played.
Well, they do. They think a lot of them.
They sure do.
They think a lot of them.
And by their words, Ron, they said, they said integral. That's not just Ron Tillery. That's their words.
Yeah. So that's what I'm judging. And maybe that's not fair, just to judge him. But I
don't think it's unfair.
I think that's his signature move right now. All this other stuff is just kind of holding down the fort. I mean, re-signing DeAnthony Melton was a no-brainer. I think trying to improve the perimeter defense, which is what they did in the draft, wasn't a no-brainer.
Locking up John Conchar is big, though, Ron.
What about Grayson Allen? You know what? Grayson Allen is the kind of guy you love to hate. If he's on your team, you could love him. You're going to hate him if he's on the other team because he's frankly can't help himself. He's a little dirty. That's the way he is. But it sure seems to me that he could be a pretty solid player if he's right with the right situation. And I think he showed us that in the bubble.
Right, and that's the operative phrase. Just like with those Miami Heat players, they showed us that in the bubble. Now they have to come out into the real world and prove it when you go on the road and when you're playing consistent minutes, when you're not just going downstairs to the workout room and play a game and then come back upstairs to your room at the hotel. So it's not to say that he can't do it, but there's still a whole lot of proving to be done for not only Grayson Allen, but like I said, for a lot of those guys on the Heat that we fell in love with, and a lot of guys who perform well in the bubble.
Can't wait to see it, and we're on the verge of it. Everything starts for real on the 22nd. Couple more exhibition games for the Grizzlies. Last thing, what did you think from the two games they played?
They look good, and they came out spry with a lot of energy. And again, I think the biggest deal for me was to see how Ja came out because without Jaren and without Justice, he's got to be the man. And he came out saying that with his game. I'm going to be the man. And it was good to see. I think if you're a Grizzlies fan, you have to be really, really encouraged by just how strong he came out. You expect Valanciunas and you expect Kyle Anderson to be ready because they're veterans. But, here's a kid who just won Rookie of the Year, coming on to his sophomore season, wanting to do it again. And what do we always talk about? Pro sports is about consistency, being able to do it and do it again and again and again. And I think this is an excellent start for Ja Morant, and that makes an excellent start for the Grizzlies, even though it's preseason. But I like how he came back.
I'm with you. Hey, happy holidays to you.
Thank you, Ron.
We appreciate you.
And all that crackling on this phone is because of my son. My son is in charge of the phone, and if you heard all that crackling, I'm going to take over the phone from here on out.
I got to tell you something. We did not hear it at all. So
not a time, Ron.
You just gave away something you didn't have to give
you
away.
Just
we heard
nothing.
Your
son for no reason.
My goodness.
Just threw him right
Tell your
down
son
the
we're
steps.
with him, baby.
I got to throw somebody under the bus.
Yeah, there you go.
We're with Team Tillery.
Oh,
Thank
my
you, Ron.
goodness.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Great to talk to you.
That is Ron Tillery taking shots everywhere. Oh, my goodness.
Man, tough crowd.
This portion of the show brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision. You're building a house. You're going to acquire some land. You're going to renovate with innovation. Use all the new modern amenities into your old home, make it a modern palace. That's big, and that's why he's going to work with you. He knows commitment. He knows you're probably a little nervous. This is why he'll be with you the whole way, and he'll give you exactly what you want. On time, on budget, quality, quality, quality construction. And that's what's happened for 2 generations with Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. He's got a wonderful new development. It's actually a gated community by Boyle he's involved in called Oleilon. So that's one way you could go. That's on Messick Road, east of Kirby, all the way to McVeigh. Maybe you've got some land in your family. You're ready to finally make your move. Pandemic's almost over. The economy's going to go back up, and you'd really like to get in on this, and you're not sure what to do. He absolutely knows. Or like I say, I love it. You want the island in the kitchen and the California closets, and you want all the new modern amenities that come into new homes, and you've got an old home that was built in the 50s or the 60s. He knows that renovation. All you got to do is go take a look at kengarland.com and then make this call, 751-1632. You'll love talking to Ken Garland. He's one of those rare guys. He sees little details, big picture, all at the same time. 751-1632. Just chat, and then you'll be on your way to building that beautiful home or getting that renovation you want. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Crunch time is right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
3 touchdowns in 2 weekends. Wow. Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bin Store Freeloaders doesn't let the fall football season slow him down. People often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. Recently, he was about to put a home on the market in Germantown, but sold it the day before. The following weekend, he listed 2 on Friday, and the one in East Memphis had 3 offers by Saturday night, and the other one in Cordoba had 4 offers by Sunday evening. Is the real estate market that good? It can be. There's no seasonal slowdown during football season when Sheldon is your quarterback. If you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, before you draft a quarterback, make sure and have tryouts with 2 to 3, and let Sheldon run his pass pattern for you. You can reach Sheldon at 682-1868 or MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or MemphisRelocate.com.
I just left those Ford and Toyota dealers. You ought to see their selection of new cars and trucks. And you should see their prices. Santa trades a Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Top trade-in for old sleds. Immediate financing. A true bargain lot with cars and trucks under $99.95. And remember, Sunrise specializes in first-time buyers. Want to buy a car or truck and have some left over for the holidays? SunriseMemphis.com. Covington, Pike, Wolfchase, and Collierville. Happy holidays.
Just announced employee pricing for everyone on select models.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Are you shopping for a new watch, an engagement ring, any kind of jewelry at all? What's up, Memphis? This is Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Grizzlies, encouraging you all to shop where I shop, Platinum Jewelers here in Memphis. Platinum Jewelers has a big selection of earrings, stockable rings, luxury watches, necklaces, bracelets, really whatever you need. They do custom jewelry and have 2 locations in the area. One is 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis. The other is 9387 Poplar next to Fresh Market in Germantown. So if you need anything jewelry related, go to my spot, Platinum Jewelers.
James Davis is one of those stores that just says Memphis. It's an original. The finest men's clothing in Memphis can be found in the Laurelwood Shopping Center at James Davis. Let's start with the Stant Custom Fitting System. This is relatively new. You can only find it at James Davis Men's Store, and it's where you walk through the door. You're going to take 3 quick measurements, about 15 seconds, and then about a week later, you're going to get the perfect fitting shirt. I mean, in the neck where you can tie your ties comfortably, all kinds of colors, all kinds of fabrics. The same thing with pants. A couple of measurements. A week later, you've got a perfect fitting in the waist, in the leg, pair of pants that makes you feel good. And they still have the great Paul Battenley suit deal. 2 for $7.95. You look great on Zoom calls. Sweaters and pullovers, perfect for eating outside. The best place to go for men's clothing in Memphis. It's simple. James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Volosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of the show brought to you by Conway. When was the last time your heating cooling system was cleaned and had a safety inspection right now. Conway's offering that 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your system for only $69. That wonderful 16-point Energy Saver Tune-Up on the system inside includes a complete safety inspection. Now they're going to use their state-of-the-art camera to go inside, make sure everything's good, and then they will run a carbon monoxide test, and they do all of that for $69. If that's not enough, he's doing this a new caveat. He will give you a free Nest Hub with your paid tune-up while supplies last if you've got a smart home. Oh, I'm sure you do. And you'll get peace of mind with that carbon monoxide test, and you know your system will be ready for the cold winter nights. All you got to do is call 384-3511, 384-3511 for Conway Services Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello,
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I learned this today. After all the years of futility with Vanderbilt football, this year was the first year ever for Vandy to go winless. I would have thought they would have accomplished that a long time before now.
I would have too. That's a good take. I learned today Conor McGregor can be a good guy. The UCF superstar apparently has saved his home gym in a little town in Ireland. A guy who runs it is also a MMA guy, but not on the league of Conor. And because of COVID, all the stops and everything else and the closures, it was going out of business. Conor McGregor gave him a check that'll keep the thing running for 2 or 3 years for nothing. What a nice gesture.
I bet that's a tough town.
Yeah.
I bet you don't have to ask to put the Dukes up twice at that town. Yeah. Could have done without this. News of Lamar Jackson being figured out was greatly exaggerated. If he's been figured out, the Browns didn't figure him out. 2 touchdowns rushing, 1 passing in an epic Monday Night Football quarterback duel with Baker Mayfield.
I could have done without the bowl news. The Frisco Bowl with SMU and Texas San Antonio canceled. SMU's got contact tracing issues, not sure about the future of that. And Virginia Tech is wavering now. They could opt out of a bowl. If so, 6 of the 15 ACC teams would be out.
Here we go tonight. Keep an eye on Josh Pastner against Leonard Hamilton. That's a whole Metro game, Georgia Tech and Florida State.
And Tulsa against Wichita State. That game actually will be tonight. We got to thank Gabe Kuhn, Brent Beer, Jeff Moore, and Bo Marchant. Of course, the one and only Ron Tillery as well. I'll be off tomorrow. Brett and Drew will be here. They will see you then. Have a great night, everybody.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference